All right.
Good morning. I'm Steve Thompson, president of Emery Thompson Machine.
I'm Christi Brown, vice president of sales and marketing.
And you are the great and famous
Tie-Dye Jeff.
Tie-Dye Jeff.
Jeff Markow. Welcome to you. You're watching this on YouTube, and we have a nice audience today. This is where Jeff usually says there's 10,000 people in the audience, but don't believe him, it's not true.
Well, the balcony takes up much of it.
Yeah, I keep forgetting the balcony. We've got to build that one day. But we're going to make some different sorbets, ice creams, ices. But the main thing is we're here to answer your questions today. So if you have a question, raise your hand. One of us will nod to you, and we'll get right back to you. And don't hold off on your question, because what's pertinent right then and there won't be relevant 10 minutes later. So we will get to your question right away. But that's the whole thing about this, is the back and forth, that we're going to answer questions. And don't feel like, okay, you're out. Get out. Don't feel like, I'm embarrassed to ask a question because it's a dumb question. There are no dumb questions. Well, there are dumb questions. But everybody wants to hear, is thinking the same thing if you're asking the question. So please, raise your hand, interrupt us. Those of you watching this on YouTube, we have a new weekly special, Christi and I, called Questions Answered, that we send out every Wednesday morning. Also on Monday mornings, we send out a flavor of the week. So if you go to emerythompson.com, you can sign up there, and you'll get these every single week, every Monday and Wednesday. So where do you want to start?
Well, Jeff's taking over for right now.
That's right. Oh, yeah. You're first.
Okay.
He is.
So go for it.
You, out.
Okay.
Adios.
Or over.
I'm going to find a comfortable chair over here where I can razz you.
Okay, perfect. What am I starting? Did you give them the agenda?
Yes.
The
Yes.
list?
Yes, we have it.
So what's my first flavor?
Lemon sorbet.
Lemon sorbet. Okay, the lemon that I gave you. However, there's no zest on it. Okay, I had to zest it. Why do they call it zest? What is zest? Lemon zest.
I don't know. You
It's
couldn't
lemon
call it
peel.
lemon sprinkles.
It's lemon peel. It's the peel. Anybody ever zest a lemon before? You have? Have you zested a lemon before? You're a regular zester, aren't you? Okay, so this is sorbet. It's cream ice. All right? It's not ice cream. It's not icing. It's in the middle. And it's very refreshing, and I've never made it before. So we'll give it a shot, okay? See if you like it. Okay? Okay. Okay. All right. We'll start with, by the way, this is a dairy blend. Unfortunately, we call it mix, but it's a blend of dairy, and there's a little vanilla in it, little sugar in it, a couple of things like that. But basically, it's cream. It's probably 99% cream from the cow. This is the basis for all the ice creams that we make. And when we're making this product now, which is a sorbet, we're going to use a little bit of this. Normally, in my recipes, we use a whole bladder. That's what my recipes call for, a whole bladder in a 24-quart machine, which is right here. But today, we're going to use, let's see, 8 ounces. 8 ounces. So let's go with, I think we need new lines on this.
No, your eyes are just getting old.
You think, huh? No.
Look here.
That's not 8 ounces, is it?
Yes, one cup.
Right, okay.
8 ounces in a cup.
That looks small, doesn't it?
No.
Okay.
8 ounces is 8 ounces, Jeff.
Truer words have never been spoken. Okay, 8 ounces, or so she says. So we'll grab this. These are a little unwieldy if you haven't done it before. Just focus. That's the only thing that's going to cause this to drop, is lack of focus. Like if you're talking like I'm doing, can't concentrate on this.
Do you want me to hold your cup?
Excuse me?
Well, that was way off. Let me hold that. There you go.
Bring it up. This is going south in a hurry, isn't it?
Yeah.
Good girl. I hardly got any on me. All right. Okay. We're going to use this machine here. This is a 12-quart Emery. This is a 24, 12, same footprint, you know. And then there's the 6-quart. All right, what am I doing? Putting a bucket underneath. So we have 8 ounces of mix, 2.5 quarts of water. 2.5 quarts of water.
That's just regular tap water, nothing special, right, Jeff?
Oh no, I brought my filter in today and I hooked it up under the sink. Yes, it's just tap water.
Okay.
Tap water. All right, so the first thing I like to do is put the liquids in the machine, and that way they can start mixing. Gate closed. You've seen videos where we, okay. All right, and 8 ounces, right? Mm-hmm. 8 ounces. We'll get the last little bit out of there. All right, and now we have 18 ounces of sugar, 28 ounces of lemon. Okay, there's a lot of ingredients in this. Usually not my style to do all these ingredients, but maybe it'll turn out all right. Sugar. Nobody's writing this, right?
No.
Good, because I sell this recipe after. All right, we need
So make sure you write it down.
18 ounces of sugar. $18 ounces of sugar. Now, before I put the sugar in, I'm going to start the machine so that it will mix and things don't just hang around in there. The panel, make ice cream. By the way, did you see the alternative to make ice cream? It says, get help. Homemade, we're going to put it on that and we're going to start it. And there it is. The blades are now spinning around. Nothing's happening, but the blades are spinning. After we get the ingredients in, we'll hit this button and that'll start the refrigeration around the cylinder so that the blades or the dasher will scrape the sides of them and bring it towards the middle, and eventually we'll have a solidified product. Yes?
So the name of the game is to start the machine when you have all the liquids in it first, without solids.
Nah, not really. It depends on the recipe. And truthfully, it doesn't really matter. You could start the machine from Jump Street and then throw everything in. These are like tanks. You can't really hurt them. And the torque on the spinning is, you can't stop it. You can throw nuts and berries and sludge and hot fudge. Nothing will stop the speed of those things going around. So really, you could do it from the go. Okay?
Can we mix everything outside and then put them in?
Going to be a lot of questions today.
Good.
Some recipes, like yesterday in my class, we made peanut butter and jelly. And peanut butter is sluggy, you know, it's like, ugh. So it pays to mix it outside in a bucket with a special tool, the drill, the paint, and then pour it in. Others use similar things like that, and like Nutella is thick, peanut butter is thick, some fudges are thick. So yeah, it's easier. You don't have to, but instead of gunking this all up like we did with the peanut butter, remember that? It was awful. So now we just do it outside, pour it in. Okay? So we'll add the sugar.
When you go to add bigger inclusions like cookies or candies or nuts, it's much better to go ahead and put your mix in and then put your inclusions in. And plus, it's a lot of fun just seeing how much you can shove down in there. Put it down into the throat and put whole cookies and just drop them in there.
Excuse me, that was 18 ounces of sugar, right?
Oh, now you're interested, right? Now you're writing it down.
I thought you had the recipe here.
No, it's not in there.
But it's 18 ounces, correct?
Maybe.
Yeah, there it is. It's 18 ounces.
My recipes we hand out. Jeff's are a secret, but you can go back and watch the tape, and you'll see exactly what he said.
Okay, this is, God bless my wife. I only buy name brands. Oreos, not Schmoreos. Everything that I buy is the name brand, the stuff I grew up with. I didn't grow up with great value lemon juice. I grew up with real lemon juice. Not her, because this saved her 30 cents. Unbelievable. But she's reliable and dependable in that area. Okay. How much do we need of this? 28 ounces. This is 32. So just about all of it. 4 ounces difference, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And 4 ounces of frozen concentrated orange juice. 4 ounces.
And sometimes when you taste a product and you think that it doesn't have enough lemon flavor or enough strawberry flavor or whatever it is you're making, oftentimes, especially in the water ice products, Italian ice, sorbet, sorbetto, adding a little bit more sugar, another cup or two of sugar, will enhance the flavor. So before if you're looking at a recipe and you decide it's not quite there, before you add more lemon juice, try adding a little more sugar. It'll make the flavor pop.
And we'll add the zest of her lemon. Now this is the point at which Steve and I differ. Steve would have already just pressed that to turn the refrigeration on.
Oh, I would have had it on 5 minutes ago.
Right. That's right. And I don't, because I insist on tasting it before I go full speed ahead. If there are any issues, I want to know about them now, and I want to be able to discern what to do. More sugar, more lemon, less this. Suppose I needed less, suppose it was too lemony, what would I do? You can't take lemon out, what would you do? Add a little more of that. Maybe that with a little more water. So there's ways to fix anything that's going on. What you don't want to do is drop the spoon.
And it happens.
Oh, yeah.
You just say spoon included, or
I'm sorry?
when they get their product, you just say spoon included?
Or you have a contest. Anybody who finds a shard of spoon gets a free ice cream.
I once did a spatula. I took a spatula and I did too much, and somebody had spatula ice cream.
Oh, so what happened? Can we stop the machine and take it out, or?
Yes and no. If that happens, the batch is done. You can't use the batch. I mean, it happened. I'm doing this 13 years, and I did a spatula once, so it won't happen. Especially, Mike, can you, but if it does happen, I would stop the machine, drain everything out, open the machine, break it down, clean it, and start from scratch.
If you've got a formula, though, that you taste it and it's just not quite there, don't sell anything bad. It's your reputation. So sell only the very best products that you're proud of. That's what Jeff has been doing for many years, making great ice creams and other products. You've got to be convinced that it's great. So if something's off, throw it out. It didn't cost you that much. Your reputation costs a lot more than that.
It's not working for me. It's not working for me. I think I know what I'm going to add. I know what I'm going to add. It needs...
And more dairy.
Yeah.
Sugar and dairy.
Yeah. So if you're writing this recipe down, we're going to add more of this. And that's why I do this tasting, and you will too. And you'll see that sometimes a recipe isn't going to cut it. You know, you have to amend it, change it, add it, do whatever. So I think we need more of this. And that was a very scientific measurement there.
That was a pint.
4 fingers.
I don't see that product on the list of products. Is it here?
It's his first one that says Jeff's Lemon Sorbet at the top.
No,
So that's the agenda.
The source for the mix.
It's
Dairy
on the-
mixes is local. It depends on where you are in the United States or your country. We're in Florida, so I'm going to buy from one of 2 suppliers in Florida. I'm not going to ship mix from California. It wouldn't pay. So there are dairies everywhere. You'll use your local dairy.
Do you have all ingredients in your book?
What's that?
I mean, for that one.
What?
You have in your book?
I don't know.
I would assume no, because he said he's never tried this before. So he's winging it.
The other ones are in there.
Yeah, you can purchase this, but
So
we'll
I
talk
turned
about
on the refrigeration. I'm not really done tasting it yet. I want to let it go around a little bit, give it another taste, and then quickly change if I have to.
Can you overfill it? Like, how do you know there's too much in it?
Well, think about it. It's a 12-quart machine. The cylinder is 12 quarts, right?
If you filled it up with water, no, the cylinder's not 12 quarts. It makes 12 quarts of product.
So
the
how big
cylinder's
is-
about 18 quarts.
18?
Other companies will call that an 18-quart machine, which
Okay.
is dishonest.
You'll know the day you get your machine, you'll know what to put in it. And the recipes, I guess I give out about 100 in class, right? And they're all listed for different machines. Not that that's the end all, you know.
And it also depends too on what product you're making. So an example, a 12 quart, we could put 6 quarts of mix, and then it'll do 100% overrun, which makes a full 12 quarts of product, or a little more, as Steve said. If you're working with a non-dairy product, that doesn't have any expansion. So no fat equals no expansion, so you can put more into the machines because it has enough room. Same thing when you're working with, a lot of fruits or strawberries,
Would you
a peach
prefer
cobbler like we
a
have there
lemon
that we're going to
sorbet
make. We can dump that whole thing in there, but we need to drop the mix down just a little bit on the smaller machine. Larger machine, you wouldn't need to do that. Also, rule applies to super premium or gelato. Those are a lower overrun. So the slower the machine goes, the less it's going to expand. So you can add more inclusions, or you can add more mix to make more of a gelato or super premium.
Back to the previous question that he had. How would I know, just looking at the machine, when I put too much in?
Well, you're going to be following recipes.
Correct.
So go by the recipe.
They're correct, but people make mistakes.
It's very simple. If you're making ice cream, the maximum you're going to put in is half of what the finished product is. So if I've got a 12-quart machine, I'm going to put 6 quarts in. If I've got a 24-quart machine, I'm going to put 12 quarts in. With Italian ice sorbets, We don't have as much expansion, so we can put in a little bit more, usually about on a 24 quart, 16 quart. We have, today, when we finish today, we will hit the 500 mark of YouTube videos. And these are all different videos that teach you different flavors, and it's all right there. It's all very simple. You want to know how to make pistachio ice cream, you go to our website, you look for pistachio, and there's a 20-minute video how to do it. We give you this all for free without you even buying a machine. Other people will say, you buy a machine, we'll teach you how to make vanilla. We'll teach you 500 flavors, and you don't even have to buy a machine from us. But you'd be crazy not to.
Okay.
It's a lot easier than what people think. I have this machine at home in my kitchen, and it's a lot of fun. So to develop, the chocolate jalapeno, you add a little bit, and then you work from there, and you do exactly what Jeff did. You taste it, and then it needs something else, or you need more of this. Or if you put too much, the next time that you can't add that many ounces, so you just drop it back. It's a lot easier than what people think. And some think that they need to purchase this one or this one before they buy that, so they can tinker with their machine, figure out formulas, develop it. It's not necessary. If you want to go big, go get it, and you're going to find out real soon how you're out. You're out.
I know, I didn't mute myself. I have to mute myself.
My formulas, I take a different approach from Jeff. Mine are very mathematical. I don't know how to bake, but and I've said this in other videos, if I have to bake a lemon cake, I'm going to pick up a good cookbook, Betty Crocker, Joy of Cooking, and it's going to tell me, use this much flour, this much sugar, this much water. Now, what can I change on that? If I add more water, it's going to be a soupy cake. If I add more flour, it's going to be dry. I can change the sugar content, and I can change the amount of lemon juice. Those are my only two variables. So my recipes, when I do it, are strictly mathematical, and if you want to make a change to your personal taste, which you will, I mean, there's maybe 20 people in this room today, they'll all make 20 different chocolate jalapeno when they go to make it, because they'll adjust the jalapeno level or the chocolate level or even the sugar level. But otherwise, it's straight mathematics, so that you know in advance what you're going to get. Now you'll add, if I decide to go into Steve Thompson's house of birthday cakes, I will then deviate from the Joy of Cooking to make my lemon birthday cake my own personal taste. We joke about urban legend with Ben and Jerry versus Haagen-Dazs. Haagen-Dazs is not as sweet as Ben and Jerry, and the urban legend is because one of the two founders, I won't say which one, the urban legend is he burned out his taste buds in college doing acid. I don't know if that's true, but that would change your perspective. I don't know, Jeff, your ice creams are more sweeter than mine. Could that have something to do with your college background?
Or the amount of sugar.
Or the amount of sugar. Could
One
be.
of those two. One of those two.
It's one of those. We'll never know. Yes?
Okay. What is the minimum batch?
You can do in the larger machines, 12, 24, 44, you can do a half batch. So if it makes 12 quarts, you can do a 6-quart batch. On the smaller machines, the CB350, the 200, the 100, you have to do a full batch, because there is so much refrigeration that we have going into that cylinder so that you can make liquor ice creams. You can't make liquor ice creams with other machines. There's so much refrigeration in there that if you put in a half batch into this machine, it's just going to freeze to the walls. So, but you're not going to be making a lot of half batches if you do it my way. If you've got my recipe for mint chip, you already know mathematically what's going to work. You might make 2 more batches in the history of your store to adjust the mint chip formula to your personal taste. But you're not going to be making hundreds of batches to try to experiment. You're going to follow a recipe and adjust it accordingly. You just saw Jeff add a little bit more of something into here. I don't do it that way, but if I did, I would sure as heck write it down, because if I make 3 batches, I want to know, oh, I like this batch. I better know what's in there so that I can duplicate it from here
And of
forward.
course, that's how we do it at the store, because we have to repeat it. But here,
Well, you're the Emerald of ice cream. Who remembers Emerald the cook, the chef? Everybody, right?
I saw
Emerald
He-
Lagasse.
Yeah,
Emerald
he goes,
Lagasse.
a little more. A little more. That's you. You're the Emerald of
Christi,
ice cream.
Emerald has an Emery Thompson.
Oh, wow.
Also, you won't have to really be, to come up with a recipe, if you had to think of a flavor, cherry, licorice, orange, that's what you think you want. Well, I don't want to get into it now, but we teach how to do it here and then use multiplication, right, to change it from here to there so that you're really not testing. You may tweak a little bit, but you'll basically have your recipe here.
This is ready. Sorry. This is why you get a kitchen timer, and if you know a batch is going to take a certain amount of time, let's say 13 minutes, you set the timer for 10, then you can be talking to the crowd, you can be talking to a friend, you can be getting your formulas. What you ought to be doing is getting your formulas ready for the next batch. Bell goes off, oh, I've got 2 minutes to go check the product.
And I don't agree with that.
Otherwise, you're going to risk freezing it up and have an inconsistent product from this week's batch to last week's batch.
Remember the word before, focus? You can't be playing Angry Birds while you're making ice cream. You can't be reading books. You can't be doing anything. You're dedicated to making the ice cream. So timers, to me, I never had one, won't have any.
And here we are talking to a crowd, we could forget that that's running. I've frozen up machines before because I got so interested in what I was saying that I forgot about the CB350.
You're fascinating.
I am. That's why we have an editing department in Texas. They just edit out my bleeps and everything else, and it looks like a seamless video. Hi, Ken.
Okay, here it comes.
Watch carefully how fast it comes out. That is a perfect product.
Heavy.
Oh,
You could make the batches without sugar, using all the sugar substitutes, right, that are available.
Sugar substitutes, it depends on what it is. Stevia, Truvia,
Junk.
They do not have any freezing capabilities. You're just freezing water, and you're going to freeze the machine up into an ice cube. There are a few ones that I use allulose to make a sugar-free sorbet or Italian ice, but there aren't many on the market like that. Most of them, you can use them in baking because baking doesn't require freezing capabilities. It requires just sweetness, but you can't use them in a machine, any machine. But you know what? Jeff will tell you, don't waste too much time. People who are adamant about something, like I'm a diabetic, so I should be adamant about not eating sugar. I'm not. I cheat. Everybody cheats. Do not cater to groups who say, I want sugar-free. You can have a couple of flavors, but you're going to sit there and watch them over the next few weeks. Sit in your dipping cabinet and just age and get old and old. And those same people will come in and say, well, you only have 2 flavors. What about the other 15 flavors? So you can't please everybody. But the main thing is, you're in the frozen dessert business. You know, my favorite line is the old one about, if you're going to drive the old man to drink him, drive him to my bar. If you're going to cheat on your diet, you're not going to go out and buy a McDonald's milkshake. You better be buying the best ice cream that you can possibly get. You're not going to buy Breyers. You're going to go to Jeff's store and buy a great ice cream. Everybody cheats on their diets. That's the fun of a diet.
Yes.
And I won't tell your doctor, so don't worry about it.
Thank you.
you're welcome.
How is it? Did you
I
try
don't
it?
know. No, I haven't.
Oh, I'm going to try it.
Approximate cost, like on a bag or per ounce of the cream? At this
About, right now, it's about $11, $12 a gallon.
What,
But
how much
each-
are the bladders, did he ask?
No, how much is it? I'm going by gallon.
Oh.
But a $12 gallon is going to make you 2 gallons of ice cream. So your cost is $6 of finished ice cream. Ice cream has air in it. If it didn't, it would just sit like lead. So your cost per gallon is going to be $6. But Jeff will tell you,
Product, it's very reasonable to make this amount.
it's extremely profitable.
Profitable, huh?
So why add the 8 ounces of cream and now make it just a straight sorbet?
I don't know why he did that.
Why did I do what?
Yeah.
What?
Why didn't make it like a straight sorbet? Why add a little cream?
It's still sorbet.
It's what you want to call it. Now, instead of asking people, isn't this great, isn't this wonderful, I did that for years. Now I ask the question, what's wrong with it? I'll tell you do you mind? I'll tell you what's wrong with this product.
Step forward.
It's the lemon juice. This is reconstituted, no matter what the brand is, this is reconstituted from lemons. It's got citric acid in here, benzoate of soda, all sorts of chemicals. If you're going to make a fresh lemon sorbet, use fresh lemon juice. It's going to cost you more, it's going to be a little bit more work, but it's going to be spectacular. This, if you took a taste of it right now, has a very bad aftertaste in the back of your throat. So we could dramatically improve this by using fresh lemon juice. And that's all I would change. What would you say, Christi?
It needs to be a little sweeter to me, but that's just my preference. I'll be back.
Wait do you see how we tear up our flavors?
What?
Where do you see how we tear up our flavors?
Oh, I don't care.
The product you mentioned at the beginning is not full ice, not full ice cream. It's in the middle, right?
Right. It's in the restaurants, this is called intermezzo.
See,
Between courses to clear
Okay,
your
this is
palate
Jeff's
in the
lemon
better
sorbet.
restaurants, they give you a little, where's that cup, that
I
famous
had
cup?
no idea you could speak Italian.
See that famous cup over there on the shelf? On the shelf? All the way to your left, down one, down one, down one, down one. There you
Oh,
go.
yeah. Yeah, okay.
In the restaurant, between courses, they put this in this, and you clear your palate.
This is $7 for 4 ounces. This is $2 for 4 ounces. And the difference is this is called lemon ice and this is called lemon sorbet. It's the same product, it's just how you're serving it and where you're serving it. So as soon as Christi gets back, we're going to make chocolate jalapeno ice cream. This is a regional favorite, just like my grape nuts ice cream, which Jeff has learned to love, is only big in Boston. This one's big in Texas, chocolate jalapeno ice cream. And the interesting thing about it, we were tasting it yesterday. Christi made it at home, and you just don't taste the jalapeno. The predominant flavor that comes through is the beautiful Forbes chocolate. So it tastes like a very good chocolate ice cream. And then about 2 or 3 minutes later, all of a sudden you start getting a little heat down in the bottom of your throat. And so we don't want to have anybody screaming out of here looking for water, so we're not going to over flavor the jalapeno. But it's kind of fun to eat because the more you eat, the hotter you get, which is really an oxymoron on ice cream. So let me...
See, to make it the real Texas tradition, you have to add the armadillo eggs.
Armadillo eggs. Do armadillos lay eggs? Oh, okay. So you're going to pull my other leg. Listen, I'm from the Bronx. I've barely seen a cow. Come on. An armadillo, isn't that the thing they make belts out of? I fell for that one, didn't I? All right. Jeff, would you do me a favor and ask Christi where she is? I think she's lost.
That's an oxymoron.
Yeah, I know it is.
Where are you?
Right here.
Okay, so
Oh, we started without you.
Well, that's okay.
Let's get going.
Okay.
You planning on hitting me with that?
What? No.
Okay, so I was telling everybody that you made
can
this
take
at
one and
home,
just pass it down.
Christi, and that we're not going to overheat it by loading in the jalapeno, but they are going to taste it a little further in. So I gave it the introduction. If you want to start
Sure.
making it,
Well, you keep doing what you're doing, and I'll do
the color commentary.
Okay.
So those of you who are watching this on YouTube, that's peach cobbler. That comes later.
What, how much mix, guys?
3.5 quarts. So this machine makes 6 to 7 quarts of finished product. Dairy product is fat cells are fat cells, and they expand. So unlike the sorbet, which will increase a little bit because water, when you freeze it, expands about 17%, ice cream can expand as much as 50%. And we adjust that with the infinite overrun. We can give you any adjustment you want. That's how I can make a homemade ice cream with a high fat, high air content, or I can make Haagen-Dazs, who I helped put in business back in around 1970, with a lower speed. The lower the speed, the less air it'll put in. So it's capable of making 6 to 7 quarts. We're going to put 3.5 quarts of dairy blend in, and then we up the amount of jalapeno flavoring after tasting it yesterday, and that's made by Weber Flavors, very good flavor company. And we've put down on the sheet there the address for Weber Flavors. It's also at our website. There's a button at my website, emerythompson.com, that says Key Suppliers, and you click on that, and it'll take you to all the different companies that we recommend. We recommend them because their products are great. There's also Forbes chocolate in this formula, and Forbes has been around for about 100 years making cocoa powder, and it's fantastic stuff. Chocolate is very subjective. My wife Paula eats 85% cocoa candy bars or chocolate bars. They taste like chalk. They're absolutely awful.
Yes.
But then again, I think the greatest chocolate on earth is M&M's. You know, if I was on a desert island with only one food, it would be M&M's. So chocolate is extremely subjective. Jeff uses the Ghirardelli out of San Francisco, which is famous for their chocolate. I use Forbes, great American company, been around over 100 years, but it's your personal taste buds. When I make some products like my coffee ice cream, the coffee I use is on the bitter side, so I put in a couple of squirts of Hershey's syrup. I mean, you can't get any lower level than Hershey's, and it's a great product. But for chocolate snobs, they would never eat Hershey's. But it takes the bitterness off the coffee. So you can have fun with the coffee aspect of this to your own personal taste.
Steve, does it make a difference in Forbes having no sugar in their cocoa versus Ghirardelli having already mixed in sugar in their cocoa powder?
This is already mixed in, ready to go. So I believe there is sugar in there.
Oh.
I'll have to check the label. Yeah, see, Christi, check that the gate is closed. I'll have to check that later. But because we don't add any sugar to this. There is sugar in the dairy blend. Yes?
What coffee do you use?
Oh, you're going to hate me for this one. Do I have it here? I have to tell you something personal about me. I'm a coffee snob. I roast my own beans sometimes. I bring in beans from Brazil, from all these different countries around the world. And I love my coffee. But if you want to make the world's greatest coffee, I don't see it here. If you want to make the world's greatest coffee ice cream, it's that awful tasting Taster's Choice. The freeze-dried crystals. I'm not kidding you. And I would never drink a cup of coffee. Sorry, Nestle's, no offense, but I just did offend you. I would never drink Taster's Choice. But it makes fabulous coffee ice cream because the freeze-dried crystals will dissolve in the dairy product about 98%, which means once in a while you'll get a little crunch of a freeze-dried crystal. Also, when you're pouring it in, be careful because there's a 35-cent coupon in the jar, and that adds nothing to the flavor of the ice cream. All right, yes, you've heard that joke before.
6 ounces?
6 ounces.
So this is 4, so here we go.
All right, so you've got in here, Christi, your 3.5 quarts of dairy mix, your 10 ounces of Forbes cocoa powder.
Ooh, you can smell it.
And now the 6 ounces.
Christi, that's what
Yeah, I'll pass it around.
Did you put a little bit extra in there?
I'm doing it.
About to. Okay. Whoa. Hey.
Supposed to do. It was only half.
Oh, okay.
I already used 2.
All right.
I got this. You guys want to read it and smell it?
I'm sorry?
Sorry, is it just the ice cream setting that you hit?
Yeah.
Because you said there's different over on.
Yes, I could do super premium, which would take it down by about a third. I can take it down to gelato, which will take it down by half.
Is that recipe dependent, or is that just what you
Personal taste. If I'm filling strictly pints, I really want a lower air content. because I'm going to charge so much for the pints, $10. I want some hefty weight to them. That pint ice cream is great heavy because that pint ice cream is great heavy because you bring it home, you take a little taste, you have a little bit at dinner. If you're like me, 11 o'clock at night, you steal another taste, you pick at it. But Haagen-Dazs and Ben & Jerry tried opening stores back in the 70s, and they, for the most part, failed because the ice cream was so heavy, which was perfect for pints. It was so heavy that when you put 4 ounces into a cone, it literally fell to the bottom third of the cone. So you felt like you were being cheated. You were paying a premium price for it. Is that all I get? And it was so heavy that it left people feeling full. If you go out to your favorite Italian restaurant and you eat the loaf of garlic bread and the antipasto and then the spaghetti and then a big dessert and finish it off with a Genzano, you walk out of there and you don't say, I ate too much. You say, oh, Luigi's makes me so full, I'm not going back there for another month. That would be disastrous in an ice cream parlor. We want them to come back this afternoon. So for scooping ice cream, I like higher air content. For pints, I like it to be heavier, and I can just pick my setting. That's my invention from 22 years ago, and no one has successfully copied it.
And
there was
so,
another question over here from the gentleman with the sunglasses. Sir, you're in witness protection with the glasses, right?
Yeah, I'm going for the Unabomber look.
There you go. Bad word to use these days.
I know.
You had a question.
What's that?
You had a question?
No.
I think it was just to smell the flavoring.
Okay.
So this goes on to what Jeff was saying and as well as myself earlier. So I have this one, as you all know. So I took home the Weber flavor, the jalapeno, and I put a ½ ounce in because I don't know how strong that stuff's going to taste. So I put a ½ ounce in. I didn't turn on the refrigeration, just the dasher, let it mix. Then I tasted it, not good enough. Put another whole ounce in, tasted it, still not enough. So then I did another ½ ounce. So you just keep adding to it. Whoops. Can't use that now. Anyway, so you just keep working with your formulas until you developed it. So I figured an ounce per quart is what I came up with as far as that machine. So I put 2 ounces, 2 quarts of mix. However, we wanted to up it a little bit because we can get the heat in it, which is kind of interesting because when you're eating chocolate jalapeno, you don't taste the jalapeno, you just feel the heat from it. I can tolerate pretty spicy. I don't know the rest of you, so it'll just depend.
Mike, our senior tech who's working the control board today with the cameras,
I can't taste it.
He burned out his taste buds years ago doing those. What is that, Mike? What's that one jalapeno taste contest?
Oh, the wood chip?
Yeah.
Oh, the Pocky challenge, yeah.
Yeah, it's one potato chip, and they dare you to eat it, and nobody survives it. Well, Mike eats them like, let's have a bag full. So we can't use him as a judge for how this comes out. We'll use all of you.
I attempted that one chip challenge. I attempted it. I tried. I did not succeed, but I tried.
Any questions?
Yeah,
Yes.
Steve, I assume there's a logic for the opening not being wider on the top where you put
Cookies.
Yeah, we're the only machinery that you can put nuts, cookies, candies into. Everybody else, you watch them make ice cream, they're always making just vanilla and adding the chips at the end. That's actually what your commercial ice cream is versus our homemade. When you buy Breyers or Bluebell's my favorite, they're making one solid flavor, and then they've got a $40,000 machine that injects the strawberries, injects the chocolate chips. So it's technically vanilla ice cream with strawberries in it. With our batch freezers and the strawberries going right in, which you'll see later too, for every particle of the dairy that's in the machine, there's a particle of strawberry right next to it. So your flavor is far more intense. So that's why the big openings, when I did trade shows or the NICRA convention, National Ice Cream Retailers, they stopped letting me be near other people because the other people were adding everything that's coming out. Now I'm sitting there peeling bananas and stuffing them in the machine and going in this crate and taking a whole bag of cookies and dumping them in. But that gives you a great flavor. I also do what I call fruit flavor and fruit identity. If I'm making that strawberry and it calls for 2 bags for this machine, 1 bag goes in the machine. If you were blindfolded and tasted, you'd say, yeah, that's strawberry ice cream. But you take the blindfold off and you can't see the strawberries. Where's the beef? So I'm adding it as it's coming out, so I have the fruit flavor in the machine, and I have the eye on it, the fruit identity. Oh yeah, I see pieces of strawberry. So I'm getting the best of both worlds. Half of the ingredients in and half as it's coming out. It works very well. Yes, sir.
So can you add strawberries towards the end of when you finish running the batch into the machine so it mixes it up, or you have to add it external?
It will not. No, I'm adding half my strawberries right at the beginning.
The other half.
The other half has got to be
the end or into the machine
as it's coming.
Not enough room.
Yeah.
So as we talked about, ice cream expands because of the fat content. So if you were to look in here, this chocolate ice cream is already at the top of the throat, and it's not ready to extract yet. And now it's in the freezing, freezing longer and more to make it more of a solid ice cream. And there's no way I could fit anything into there now because it's expanded. Now on a larger machine, if you did a half batch like Steve is talking about, especially if you're working with water-based products, you could do that because there's no expansion. So you're still going to have enough room in your cylinder to do so. It's just knowing what you're making, knowing your product, and we're here to help with that. Give me a call if you have questions, if you're not sure about a formula, not sure if you can add this at this point in time. I'm here for that, and so is Steve. We'll help.
And I don't know if you can hear it out there, but watch this. Here's a great way if you're adding ingredients and you're a little concerned about you're not going to be fast enough. You can open the gate part way, or you can go to the infinite overrun control. Right now I'm running at maximum speed, and every time I tap it, I'm going down 5 revolutions per minute. So now I've just cut it down to half speed. It's going to come out of the machine slower, and I can add my ingredients. If you're filling pints at the machine, take it down even slower. And then Christi found this out. I've been making ice cream for 40 years, and she comes along and says, well, why don't you just slow it down when you fill the pints? And it was so easy. You don't have to go buy a pint filler or some fancy door that doesn't work. You just slow the machine down, fill it, fill it, fill it. It's that easy.
So working with chocolate, I don't know if you've ever heard me say before, the more sugar you add, the longer it takes to freeze. So if you're working with the plain basic vanilla, it's going to take you about 8 minutes. Chocolate can take up to 12 minutes. Same thing if you're making vanilla ice cream and you're adding Oreos or you're adding candies or Butterfingers. That's adding sugar. So it's just science. So if you know your one batch is completed at 12 minutes, well, your next one's not because it depends on your sugar content.
So how do we know that? Just from our experience?
Just from experience and just from your own knowledge and just learning over time. So obviously we know chocolate has sugar, so we just added a lot of sugar to it. I make what I call an orange Italian ice, and it's literally just orange juice, the Simply brand orange juice, and 2 pounds of sugar. There's no water. No offense, it's diabetes in a cup, but it is really good, and that can take about 15 minutes because the sugar content is so high.
And watch any of the 500 videos. Mm-hmm. We get accused of repeating ourselves. You can't help it if you repeat yourself. So what Christi just said is probably in about 50 or 60 videos. So you can, every time, people tell me every time they watch a video, they pick up something new. So they're out there, they're free. All you have to do is turn on your computer and you can see exactly every move that we made today. We're taping them all right now.
You can see a younger version of us.
A cutoff check.
You
so
can see a younger version of us.
Machine lets some ice cream come out, and to me that's still a little runny. I want to wait just another minute or two. So if it cuts off and it plops into that pan, that's good. I don't like to pull it too thick, and the reason is because when you're putting it into a container, your 2.5 or 3 gallon container, if you pull it too thick, then you're going to have to smack your tub down and get it to level out. A lot of the ice cream makers will pull it on the thinner side, so that way it'll even out into your whole entire container. You don't have any air pockets, and then you're utilizing your whole tub.
Well, what Christi just did was checking it. My wife knows how to bake. I don't know how to bake. And I've always noticed why, and Paula is also our office manager. I watch Paula when she's baking that lemon cake, and she sets the timer for 23 minutes. The bell goes off, she comes over, but she then checks it. She takes a fork and sticks it in it, or a piece of straw from a broom, and checks it. She doesn't just say, 23 minutes has passed, boom, we're pulling it out. So that's what you're doing, is you're just going to take a quick look at it. It's really that simple.
So
it's not
right
scientific.
Now, we're at 11 minutes, so I said 12 minutes is about the time for chocolate, so we're going to hit probably 12 minutes and we're going to go ahead and pull it. If this was vanilla, you're looking at 8. If you add Oreos, you're probably looking at about 10. If you add chocolate chip cookies, you're probably looking at 9. So it really just depends. Butterfingers, Heath, Snickers, that's going to be about 9 to 10.
And all you have to remember is the more sugar in the product, the longer the freezing time. So if you're making vanilla or coffee, 8 minutes. If you're throwing in a bag of Snickers, you better expect it to go 12 minutes, 11 minutes, somewhere in there.
All right, we ready?
Watch carefully.
Ooh.
Doesn't that look good?
Ah.
Ready? I can smell it. Who's excited? Who's scared? All right. Well, somebody.
Paramedics are standing by. Don't worry.
Out of the first machine, is there much left in that?
There's almost nothing left in it. It's maybe a cup. So right now that's a 6-liter pan, and this is another liter. So there's our 7 liters, a little over 7 quarts. What was the question? Oh, well, it's left in there. What you do is you plan your production from light flavors to dark. And you're never going to make just one batch of jalapeno chocolate. If this is successful, you're probably going to make 5 or 6 batches. Why make one today and then another one 2 days from now when you could be making 6 batches and fill up your freezing cabinet? So you're building an inventory. So you would start with vanilla and work your way down to darker flavors. Actually, vanilla followed by, say, butterscotch swirl, because it's vanilla in the machine, butterscotch as it comes out. And then raspberry swirl, and then chocolate swirl. And then we would go on to, say, maybe strawberry. Now we've contaminated the machine with strawberries. So after strawberries, I might do Bordeaux cherry or black raspberry in the strawberry family, but just a little bit darker. So if you plan your production and don't go chocolate to vanilla, you won't have to rinse the machine out. If you do, it's just a matter of throwing in a few quarts in indeterminate amount. Does not matter. Put in 3 quarts. Turn it on, let it slosh around for 30 seconds, drain it out, and now you're good to go. The only exception, and I'm sorry you'll hear this joke all through my videos, is I'm a New Yorker, rum raisin ice cream. After I make rum raisin ice cream, I take the machine apart, I bring in the Pope to bless it, because every New Yorker knows if you get a raisin in any other flavor, that's not a raisin, that's a cockroach. And we don't want cockroaches in our ice cream. That's what we think. We're New Yorkers. So there are times when you rinse out the machine, but you're trying to avoid having to do it. It's not a big deal. It's not like a soft serve machine that's going to take 40 minutes to clean out. So we got a lot of ice cream out of this batch.
Yeah. The hardest part about this job is not licking my fingers.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff, you going to give this a whirl?
Perhaps.
Now you said that about one of our flavors 2 shows ago,
right?
And then the next day it was your number
on
one
the menu
flavor
at the store. That's right.
Who made that flavor?
You're the scientist of all this. Not all of us have an Emery Thompson at home to play with.
Including Emery Thompson.
Right.
I don't have one.
Right.
And Jeff, where is your store?
Daytona Beach.
Excuse me?
Daytona Beach.
We're supposed to take a coffee break. Does anybody need a break, or do you want us to keep going?
Keep going.
Oh, I can feel the heat. It's there right away.
This last 4 looks like spicy.
It's different. You know,
Yeah? No?
not everything is flavor. It's also marketing. This is a fun flavor to market. You're going to get all the kids. Oh, I'll bet I can eat 2 scoops of it when you can only eat 1. You know, that kind of thing. So it doesn't hurt to have this, maybe not as a regular. And by the way, I've taken 30 flavors and condensed it down to about 12 or 14. because you don't need more than that. But you bring it in as a flavor of the week, you advertise it all week on social media, and you create a buzz for your store. Wow, here I am up in Minnesota, and they have a Texas flavor that's got jalapenos in it. I'm going to probably call it jalapeno. I'm going to try that one. So it can be very good marketing.
Delicious.
So what do you think? Very good.
What a difference. It's so much more creamy.
Good job, Christi.
Is
Really
it
good.
too spicy for anyone? No?
No.
Good, good.
Right.
Not yet. We'll see.
You could taste it better in that one.
All right, Jeff, it's all yours.
Okay, I'm gonna go clean up my mess.
Because we made lemon sorbet and now we're going into another flavor and ice cream, we're going to give it a rinse. This is the simplest process. Rinse, a little water in it, no set amount, no sediment.
No sediment either.
Christi, what is the make of the jalapeno?
It's
flavor?
on the
Just
recipe,
Just water.
the formula sheet, it's at the bottom.
Forbes.
What, Forbes
And
is
then
the
turn it
chocolate.
on for a minute, just to clean out the stuff in there. And that's it. And what you can do is you can freeze this and make popsicles. No. All right, what I'm going to make is Kahlua Cookie Ice Cream.
Oh, yeah.
It's a big seller at the store. And if anybody can't have alcohol for one reason or another, don't have this, all right? Because it's there.
That's me. That's me.
Yes, I know. All right. So this is
First, see that? First thing he did. Wasn't even thinking about it. Just came over and closed the gate.
this is ice cream, and for my recipes it's a half batch because I have a 24. This is a 12, so I just cut everything in half. So instead of 10 quarts, which is what this is, we'll use quick.
5.
Oh, good girl. We'll use 5 quarts.
Jeff, while you're pouring that, last year we sold over 500 machines, and 2 of them were 12 quarts. That's all. People think they should buy the 12 quart because they don't need 2 tubs of ice cream. Well, again, you can make a half batch, but it's not going to be long before you're going to need 2 tubs of everything. And your biggest cost going forward is going to be labor. So if you can get 2 tubs in 8 minutes as opposed to 1 tub, and the cost difference is $2,000 to go from a 1 tub to a 2 tub, that's so little. That's why we only sold 2 12 quarts last year. We try to talk people out of it because we know your business is going to grow and expand and be huge. All our customers are.
How do you, let's say that you don't want to make a tub, but you want to make like pints or little quarts or...
Little quarts as opposed to big quarts.
Leave her
I'm
alone.
sorry.
Leave her
Not
alone.
quarts.
Quarts.
Whatever.
Yes, you're right.
English. I
Quart.
mean-
Different
Quart.
size.
Yes,
You're,
small containers.
you're still going to make the capacity of the machine.
Okay,
You're-
how do you pour?
As I showed before, you open the gate and just slow down the speed, and you
Slow
fill
down
them right there.
The containers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
How small can you go down to?
Oh,
pour it individually.
about 25% of the speed, full speed of the machine.
Uh-huh.
Because 100 RPM. There you go.
Okay.
It's already spinning, so it's not a problem for it to slow down.
Okay.
That was our chief engineer. A lot of people confuse him with the voice of God, but I'm sorry, it's not. We don't have a direct connection.
You done?
I'm done.
Okay.
What are you doing? What are you doing there, Jeff?
Well, unfortunately, when I took the top off of the Tia Maria, the cork broke. So I pushed the cork in, and then instead of pouring this into the machine, I poured it in here.
Okay.
Satisfied?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay, Kahlua cookie. It's one of those simple ones. There's 2 ingredients. With cookies, 3 ingredients. You don't even need the cookie. So that's it. So I put the mix in the machine, and now we're going to add Kahlua or Tia Maria or coffee liqueur, whatever floats your boat. This recipe I can give you exact. Wow. These are blonde Oreos. You know blonde Oreos? No? You know what Oreo cookies are?
Yeah.
This is the white version of Oreo cookies. And we'll add, tell them your thing now that you couldn't do this.
Yeah, don't try this in anybody else's machine because the opening is so narrow on purpose that you can't get the cookies in there. Their dashers are not nearly as strong as ours, and so they take the opening here. It may have a large mouth when you look at it, but it narrows down to about a ½ inch because they do not want you putting cookies, nuts, candies into the machine. You might damage their dasher, so that's why they do it. We have a full-throated opening because we want everything to go in there. Because like I said before, that's where the flavor is. And every recipe allows it's built into the recipes, the ice cream maker can eat at least 2 cookies and not affect the recipe. Or at least
You started that.
That's what I tell myself.
Steve, question.
Thank you. I'm going to save it for later. Yes.
My favorite ice cream in the world, personally, is hazelnut ice cream. How can I accomplish that naturally without this stuff here?
I haven't a clue. I've never made hazelnut ice cream. Do you have any resource on that?
Nutella.
Nutella. You want to tell them about Nutella?
Well, I think his question was without using something like, who asked that?
Yeah, but Nutella's,
don't worry.
Nutella's like using peanut butter.
Of course.
So, if you're going to make peanut butter, there's no substitute for that. So the Nutella will, according to Jeff, will do fine.
On the same question, how about pistachio?
You need a pistachio extract to bring out the flavor, and the best one for that is a company. There's a company that makes all natural extracts and colors, and the owner is a chemist, and he does a fantastic job. The company is called Green Mountain Flavors. Now you would think Green Mountain Flavors would be in Vermont. That's the signature name for the state of Vermont, Green Mountains, but it's not. It's in Oswego, O-S-W-E-G-O, Oswego, Illinois, and Stan Sitton is the president, and you can call up Stan. Wonderful man. We'll talk to you for hours about flavors and only charges like an attorney, so it won't be bad. I'm kidding. He doesn't charge. But Stan has got all natural colors. He makes a red dye from concentrated beet juice. Beets are the reddest thing in nature. So you've got the 33-year-old mother, millennial mother with the child, and they come into your store, and the child wants that cherry Italian ice, and the mother says, no, you can't have that. That's red dye 40. And the store owner over there goes, oh, no, ma'am, that's concentrated beet juice to get our color. So the mother looks at the owner and is thinking, wow, if they go to all that effort just to make red dye be natural, what's the rest of this store like? And you've just won her over and all her friends over forever. So it's a nice, easy way to get great colors and great extracts if you need everything to be all natural. Anybody else?
I put half the cookies in when we started to give it the cookie flavor in Kahlua Cookie Ice Cream, and the rest I just broke up here, and they'll go in halfway through so that in the servings they'll have pieces of cookie.
Did you use real Kahlua? Or did you use
Tia
Kahlua?
Marie.
He used the cheap stuff, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah, there is no substitute for Kahlua.
No. Jeff always preaches, don't use it Schmim-M-Ms, use M&Ms.
What is this? Beat down on me day?
But you didn't use Kahlua, you used Schmalula.
And your point is?
Our point is you didn't sleep well last night, so we're going to get 15 years of aggression out on ourselves, on you.
Because I can't fight back.
No.
This is going to be good. You won't even taste it, will you?
No.
Okay. Understand, it's a liqueur, it's not liquor.
It's alcohol.
Yes.
Yeah.
Small.
No.
Okay. Okay.
Like, my understanding, you cannot add nuts to machine inside, correct?
Nuts?
Yeah.
You can add nuts.
You can?
Sure, we could call it Kahlua Nut. I'm serious. You can.
I think what you're thinking about is worrying about peanuts and any cause of
The allergies? Is you worried about
allergies?
allergies?
No, because he asked how he can make hazelnut. It's my understanding he was asking if you can add a nut.
You can take hazelnuts, you can throw them in the machine, or you can put them in the Ninja, make hazelnut dust out of it, throw it in the machine.
But don't do it in another brand because it'll damage the dasher. But as far as we have a fun little sign over there about peanuts. It's Mr. Peanut Choking.
No.
That is not a problem because these machines are built to National Sanitation Foundation and Underwriters Laboratory standards, which means that no matter what you put in there, you can thoroughly clean out any residue and it'll never be a problem. And so something like that, if I was going to make peanut butter ice cream, I would make it last. Not only for the food allergy, last flavor of the day, not only for the food allergy, but it's an awful mess. It sticks to everything. So you want to make it and then have one of your employees come in. Okay, I'm finished with the machine, bye, and let them clean it.
It's always good to save any type of nut, pistachios, cashews, even though that's a very rare nut allergy, it's still best to save that as your last flavor of the day when you're making ice cream.
Is that a rare nut allergy or a rare nut allergy?
A rare nut allergy.
Okay, so in other words, it's not using like Fukaluka burger.
Okay, so.
Or the guy's not crazy.
So,
Right.
with that said, so that way you can strip your machine down completely because you will have to, your
Like
health
the Three
department will tell you
Stooges
that it's a
sometimes.
necessary thing. Same thing if you choose to have a nut topping on the side. If you choose to have toppings, which Jeff is against,
This is gonna get
my
really
preference,
freaky.
make ice creams with nuts as peanuts and whatnot, but I would not have toppings on the side that's a nut because one, if your employee picks up scoops of peanut and then it gets into the M&Ms and then you give a little kid an M&M topping and now it's got a little nut in there. It's just avoid it if you can. You like toppings, right? A whole array of toppings.
Array.
Yeah.
How many cookies should we add?
All of them.
All of them. I agree. I agree.
When it comes to flavoring ice cream, too much is never enough. It's what people eat. Nobody walks out of a store and says, oh, best air content I ever ate, or I love the fat content. It's marvelous. People eat the cookies. They eat the coffee. That's what's wrong with most of the commercial ice creams is they're so worried about cost that they're not looking into the fact that it's got to taste great to get people to come back. You want to just touch on cost? How you don't care what something costs?
Correct.
Usually because you're using my vanilla, which is $100 a gallon.
Oh, but I didn't come with all my ingredients again, right?
Oh, yeah, maybe you did. Okay.
cost. Those 5 people there will tell you that cost is now irrelevant in cost of what you're putting into the machine. Is it irrelevant? It means nothing because the profit on this stuff is ridiculous. Every one of these that you take out of the machine will net you, net $50. That's not bad. And if you decided to use Schmorios instead of Oreos, you would net $51. It just doesn't pay. The philosophy is, I want my ice creams to taste like ice cream when I was a kid. That's what I want. And too many times you go to the supermarket and you get ice cream and it's not there. It's just ice cream. It's refreshing, it's creamy, it's nice, but it doesn't bring you back. I want to live in the past with ice cream. I want it like, see that bucket under the table? When we had to churn it for Grandma and Mom, and because we churned it for 25 minutes, we got to lick the beater, scrape it off. That's what I want the ice cream to taste like.
This is what my grandfather was using back in New York.
I think he left his wallet in there.
Yeah, I think so. And that's when he invented the modern day ice cream machine.
And that's why we're here.
Yep.
Now, alcohol won't freeze, right? Well, technically incorrect. Alcohol will freeze, but it's like minus 5,900 degrees or something. But, so how do we get adult ice cream? Well, we suspend the alcohol in the cream. The cream will freeze, and the alcohol is suspended around it. We use the example in class of molecules. Everything is molecules. Everything, right? We know that. Do you know that? Okay, now you do. So everything are these little teeny tiny molecules. So alcohol is little teeny tiny molecules too. Cream is little teeny tiny molecules. When you put the cream with the alcohol, the cream surrounds those molecules. So 25, this is a stupid example, but 25 molecules of cream are going to surround each molecule of alcohol. So if you think of that on a large scale, it will freeze because the outside is freezing, okay? So technically you can't freeze it, but we can get that out of it, which is pretty good. The more direct alcohol you use, going, say, from liqueurs, which you use today, to rum, vodka, those gin, those raw alcohols, tequila, those are harder because there's no, the liqueurs have sweetness and sugar molecules running with them. Alcohol doesn't. It's just pure alcohol.
Customers use those in such as the alcohol slush machine.
What's that?
Have they ever used it as almost like an alcohol slush machine, such as a frozen drink?
I don't know. I'm not familiar with those.
You just have to add more alcohol? Or?
Ah, you're back. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, we'll give it 30 seconds. How's that?
Why is there 2 Oreos? Oh, that must have been Steve's shtick. You always
Yes.
save Oreos for the cookie, the ice cream maker.
Okay, 15 seconds.
Do I know Steve or do I know Steve?
Here you go.
What is this?
Kahlua Cookie.
This class is getting better as we go along, huh?
This is good. This is a big seller at the store. probably number one in the adult flavors.
You know, Jeff, I had been asked before, can you use the name Bailey's?
You know, I'll answer that now.
Okay.
The best thing that could ever happen to us is if we have Bailey's on our menu and we get a cease and desist from Bailey Corporation. That would be the best, because my first call would be to the newspaper. My next call would be to the TV station. We would get more out of that than I could ever buy. Okay, they're about to try Kahlua Cookie.
Oh boy.
I think it's very good.
Any questions so far? Okay.
I just want to eat.
Very quiet.
The funny thing about doing this class is
waiting to taste it.
It's good.
everybody is so anxious to eat the free ice cream.
It's
and
good.
then when we finish up in the afternoon, we say, "You want to make one more flavor?" We go, "No, I've had enough, thanks."
That's
what
what.
is the grease, ¿cómo se dice?
Ingredients?
Grasa, no, el contenido de grasa.
Not the grease container.
The fat.
The milk fat.
The percentage of fat.
Bladder.
in that.
So milk bladder.
No.
This.
Yeah, what's the percentage of fat in
10%.
10%.
10% butter fat.
The U.S. federal government says that in order for it to be called ice cream, it must be 10% or higher.
Or higher.
Yeah, so 12, 14. Haagen-Dazs is 16. Ben & Jerry is 16.
Okay.
But to put it in perspective, whole milk, regular milk, is 4% fat.
Okay.
Low-fat
Did you give
milk
Mike any yet?
is 2% fat.
time.
And there's a world of difference in taste
Yeah.
between whole milk and low-fat milk. So when you get from 10% and jump to 12, it's not just 2%. It's a lot of difference in taste. And then 12 to 14 and so on up.
So it would be better a little bit more?
Most places in the United States are running 12 to 14. Here in Florida, because it's so hot and so humid, that if you eat a big fancy steak lunch at Ruth Chris and go out into the heat, you're going to sweat, you're going to get a stomach ache from the heat and the high fat that you just ate. So, yes, you will, for a while. I switched us over to using the federal minimum 10%, concentrate on the flavoring, and for Florida, it works very well. I spoke to a gentleman in Michigan the other day, and we both agreed 14 was going to be better for him because they want an even smoother, creamier, high-fat product. So there is no set product. If I was looking between, say, a 10, 12, and 14, I might bring in a sample of the three of them, make vanilla ice cream, and then taste them and see what I like.
Okay.
So then I decide what I like, and then I give it out to my friends and see what they say. And your friends won't give you an honest answer because they're getting free ice cream. So they're just going to say, "Oh, we love you. Everything's great. Give me more."
So this here is only cream? That's it?
No, it's a combination of milk, cream, sugar, and skim milk powder. Skim milk powder is heavy cream with all the fat removed.
So let me ask you something. Do you need to refrigerate that base?
Oh, yes, that's a dairy product. That's just like milk.
Okay.
But you can freeze that. So if you had a large shipment going down to your country, you could ship it frozen and keep it frozen. Jeff and I and Christi are only doing this class every other month, so we get a shipment in, and we have these bags frozen in the freezer for 2, 3, 4 months. And we just thaw them. It takes about 3 days to thaw it out in the refrigerator. I don't want to just leave it out on the counter because it's dairy product.
Would it be possible to make that with cream?
Yes, I have a formula.
Because, we're far away.
Yeah, I have a formula I can send you for free. Just send it to Steve at emerythompson.com. Here in the United States, you can make your own blend. Blend is a better word, but it's about the hardest thing on earth to do because the Food and Drug Administration controls this, the FDA. And if you want to get a pasteurizer, and I know a very good one made in the USA, it's terrific, you will be keeping recordings of the temperature at which you pasteurized it at, around recording and for how long. And the FDA can come in at any time and inspect your records and check you and shut you down.
Well, I don't think they're going to go to Panama.
We're not worried about Panama. Panama, yes, you can make your own, and I would suggest it because it's with shipping costs what it is, it's going to be too expensive.
Yes,
so,
yes.
yeah, email me. I'll send you a formula to make your own.
Thank you.
I would give it to you now on this tape, but I don't know it off the top of my head.
Okay. Steve, another question. I noticed this apparatus here.
The hardening,
The ice cream hardening.
the
unit,
blast freezer.
But I don't see any information concerning pricing or anything for that.
Right now, it's, we hate to put a price, the prices of our machines are at our website, the direct-to-you price. It's right there, you can download it at any given time. Hate to put it on a video because I will get the call 12 years from now, and someone said, you quoted that at now.
Yes.
I'm going, well, look at the date on the video. You know, your car went up too. So don't like to do it on a video, but for now, this summer of 2022, which is a very good price.
Okay. I noticed 2 doors.
Yes.
All right. Is that for like one that you're opening continually versus the other one that you would want to stay closed?
No, it's set up so that if you wanted to have 2 different temperatures, you could.
Can you put more drawers in there?
Can I put what in there?
More shelves.
Oh yes, the shelf. I don't have the shelves; they're right here. But it's got all shelves. It's great for pints. It's great for tubs, gelato pans, and I have them both set at 25 below Fahrenheit because I want the maximum capacity. I could set this at 25 below here and 5 below here, all Fahrenheit, so that I can take my solid ice cream and put it into down here to warm up closer to my scooping temperature. I'd rather keep it all at 25 below because before I bought that, I bought a chest freezer in the other side of the room from Sears for $800. So I want that all at 25 below. I can keep it in there for months on end, or I can unload it tomorrow and put it into my chest freezer, and now I have ×4 the amount of ice cream that I have in the store. I've quadrupled it. So when you buy this machine and you call me up in a year and say it's too small for the business, why did you sell me that small machine? I said, because that's all the money in the world you had. And now that you're filthy stinking rich, you want to complain about being filthy stinking rich. So if you want to double and quadruple the production of this machine, hire someone to come in at night, the graveyard shift we call it, and I hire an off-duty policeman, fireman, or military. You give them your 3x5 file card, and you tell them, I'm going to bed, you make my ice cream. And I swear to you, that'll be the hardest thing you'll ever do in business is delegate authority to someone else, because you think you're the only person on earth who can do that. That's when we hired Christi, and I started teaching her everything I know. Now she's in the process of teaching me everything she knows. So it's a great idea. So you can, with something like this, you can quadruple the amount of ice cream you have available to you.
Okay.
And if you start with this machine, then you can fill this up and fill that up over there. And you can run Emery Thompson's 24 hours a day on average for the next 40 years.
Thank you.
That's the average lifespan.
You could, all right, you could keep the ice cream the softest level that you were talking about.
That's the scooping.
Yeah, the scooping, and it for a long period of time, and that wouldn't hurt the ice cream.
No, that's not correct. At 25 below zero, I can keep it for months on end. If I take it to 0, I can keep it for about 2 or 3 weeks. If I take it to +6 where I'm going to scoop it, I've only got about 10 days. I don't think Jeff would ever keep an ice cream 10 days. He's going to move it faster than that because he wants it fresh. So you're avoiding your serving cabinet. You're filling that up at the last minute because you want the freshest stuff you can possibly do. So the colder you keep it, the longer it'll last.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay.
How about a difference between the custard, a frozen custard, and an ice cream?
The difference between frozen custard and ice cream is the addition of egg yolks. I'm going to go off camera for a second. Let me grab this. ice cream that has egg yolks in it always used to be called French ice cream. That meant that it had egg yolks in the product. People are very wary of using egg yolks nowadays because every year we have a reoccurrence of bird flu. You don't notice it, it doesn't make news. But bird flu is always coming back and wiping out the crop and having to destroy a lot of birds year after year. There are a handful of dairies in the United States who make a frozen custard mix. Not a lot of them. So your cost to get it is probably going to be high. It really does add to the product. It's very nice. It's not going to do you any good in the chocolate jalapeno because the predominant flavors were chocolate and jalapeno. It's not going to do you any good in the coffee because the coffee is predominant flavor. But anything that is a vanilla base can be improved by adding custard. And the easiest way to do it, instead of having to find a dairy, is this company. Shall I hold that for you, Mike, so they can zoom in? This company is in Philadelphia called I as in iPhone, I Rice as in the food, I Rice Company in Philadelphia. And they make what they call Bavarian base. And the #1 ingredient in here is egg yolks. So this is a big can of egg yolks with a little bit of corn, a little bit of sugar in here and some water. And in this machine, you would put in 1 quart of this, and now you've got a true custard base, which is great. The bigger machine, the 24, 2 quarts, and the 44 quarts, you put the whole can. I think that's the measurement.
That much, huh? Instead of the milk base.
It's going into the milk base.
Going into it.
Yeah.
In addition.
In addition. Yeah.
What is it?
Adding the eggs, that would be the substitute
What does
for
it do?
it.
Thicken the base?
No, it makes it richer because eggs are rich. So
Okay.
French ice cream down in New Orleans was always considered to be a better vanilla than what you'd get up in New York.
Okay.
And so it wasn't just a name. It wasn't just Brennan's, an old line business down there. One of our customers was making French ice cream, and it really is different.
That's why when you see a French vanilla and a regular vanilla, the French vanilla looks yellow, the vanilla doesn't. Well, that's the egg.
That's
And
right.
it's a little bit creamier, right?
Much
The
creamier.
French
And that is
vanilla.
a cream, not a powder in that can.
It's real eggs.
Okay.
Yeah, but again, it doesn't do you any good to throw it in the salted caramel because there's so many other flavors going on in salted caramel. All you did is waste your money. But if you've got a vanilla-based product, no, go ahead, Jeff.
Well, that's not really true. I'll take any of the flavors, and I do it often on the menu, and I'll add that, and then it'll be caramel custard. Or you can do Oreo custard. I wouldn't do that, but caramel custard is one I've done.
It's going to improve your product.
Oh, absolutely.
No question about it.
Well, it changes it. You know, some people don't like custard.
Yeah.
I don't understand that, but some people don't.
Well, there are problems. One of my sisters is allergic to egg yolks.
Eggs, right.
And no matter what you do to it, no matter if you pasteurize it or change this or that, it's still an egg. And so you run the risk of running off a certain percentage of your customers. For every person that says they've got an allergy, there's 10 more who will agree that they do too, though they've never been tested. It's just human nature.
That is a great product.
Yeah. And they're a great company, iRice. They have a lot of good flavors to look at. So if it doesn't exist in nature or it can't be bought in the supermarket, iRice is the place to go. So if you want bubblegum Italian ice, iRice is the place to go.
Yeah, because like you said, there's no bubblegum tree.
No, they all got wiped out in the last hurricane.
They did. That's right. So, we ready to do raspberry lavender sorbet.
Oh boy.
Ooh. So Steve has made a lavender chip ice cream before using Tyrannies. This is very good. It's not super concentrated, so you have to use more than what we did, like Weber flavors. Trial and error. This is where having a machine at home comes in handy. So I got raspberries, strawberries, and dark cherries. And I ran all 3 of them with the lavender just to see which one tasted the best. And this was the clear winner. Raspberries paired very well with the lavender.
Because she has an Emery Thompson at home.
I don't.
So the cherries just didn't cut it. The strawberries were very, very sweet on their own. So it overpowered the lavender, and you would have to put in so much lavender, and that's a little overkill. So the raspberries were a perfect pair. I also like to buy the frozen fruits and then letting them thaw and then give it a good squish with my hand. Don't need to puree it, don't need to anything. And as they thaw, it makes its own sweet natural juice in there, so that helps add to the flavor. I don't have the recipe, so what's the first one?
Quarts of water.
Okay.
Here, I will give you a recipe card.
I like letting him shout it out to me.
Well, that's good too.
Do you prefer Trani over like Monin or?
Whom?
Monin. I see you have like Monin syrup over there. Like, do you prefer Trani or?
Jeff, those were yours. What do you say?
Tirani, when we first opened, we had a cappuccino bar, espresso cappuccino, and people wanted flavors in their cappuccino or coffees. So I found Tirani, and I think Tirani is great. They have now over 100 flavors. Monin has been up and coming, and now they have some flavors. They have some unique flavors. Cookie butter, remember the cookie butter we made? Speculoos.
Yes, speculoos.
The Monin has great flavors. I'm still a fan of Tirani, but Monin at the store because there are some flavors that are great. If you're making butter pecan ice cream and you get Tirani butter pecan, beyond belief. It went, and that's all that's in there. Cream and Tirani butter pecan and then some candied pecans. And that became our #1 seller and has been for a long time.
And if you just need a bottle or two, you can buy it right on Amazon. Otherwise, I assume you go to Webstron.
I buy by the case. Restaurant Depot sells it, and I get cases from there. But if you just want single bottles or whatever,
they have it.
Well, no. See me later.
So I like to add the sugar to interrupt everybody.
All right.
Into the water. Jeff doesn't do that. He doesn't really care.
I have no regard for the machine.
Yeah, he doesn't. So it's not necessary, but we recommend it because sugar acts like sandpaper when you pour it into the machine. So over time, it'll start to wear down your blades. So instead of replacing them every 3 to 5 years, you can let them go about 4 to 6 years by just giving it a light little mix. So I got my 2 pounds of sugar, 3.5 quarts of water, and then, what is that, 20 ounces? And then the raspberries. Great. Then I am not going to. I'm gonna pull a Jeff, guys. I know this is 25 ounces, so I'll eyeball 5 ounces. Oh, I was gonna pour that in there first.
It's really hard not to make a glug, glug, glug sound.
Yeah.
You read my mind. Glug, 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 glug.
What do you think? A little more?
No, I think, okay.
Well, taste it first before you kill it. What? Okay.
All right.
Is it required to put like
You want to pass it around?
and like on the
Smell it, look at
on
it.
the ice creams? I mean,
Not on your retail, no. The question, in case the camera didn't pick it up, do you have to put ingredients list on your ice cream? Not in a retail ice cream parlor. If you're going to wholesale it to someone else and they're going to resell it in their delicatessen or bodega, then you are supposed to put the ingredients. But the laws have been made to be a little bit laxed. We all know that Coca-Cola is a secret formula. So the law says Coca-Cola doesn't have to list all the ingredients in their product. So you can have a label that says milk, cream, sugar, skim milk, natural and artificial flavorings. That protects you from giving away that you're using Tirani or the cheap Tia Maria instead of the good stuff. So you're protected there by those words, natural and artificial flavorings. People like to. I was
Or
always
the
against
cups.
labeling because it's a pain in the neck. But everybody reads labels, and the funny thing is, we'll read a label on what's on this Boston cream pie that we shouldn't be eating. We read the ingredients and then we go ahead and buy it anyway, even though we know it's 1 million calories because it's what we want. No matter what that label says, we're going to buy it if we want it.
No, like it's mine said required of it.
I'm sorry?
You say require. You said not. Okay.
You don't have to. Not on retail.
What if you make pints? You sell pints.
What about pints?
If you sell pints, do you need to put ingredients, or it goes the same way?
If you're going to sell the pints in your own store, and I'm going to walk in and grab a couple of pints and take them home, you don't have to label it. Because that's no different from an ice cream cone. It's just a different container. You bought it at my store. If I sell my pints to Christi's Delicatessen, then and you take it home, you're buying it from Christi, then it's got to be labeled.
You'll get it eventually.
And since everybody reads labels, it's worth doing. Rush Limbaugh once came up with a slogan for Snapple. It was a drink from years ago, and he coined the phrase "made from the best stuff on earth." And so that was not only their advertising campaign, that's what they put on their ingredient label, which was really funny. And then they added, the rest of what's in there: water, caramel coloring, stuff like that. So this is sugar, water, fruit, and the lavender syrup. Can somebody read that bottle for me and tell me if it has sugar on that? It's sitting in front of you. I don't know how much sugar content is that, but we did 2 pounds of sugar. We had raspberries, which is a natural sugar, so you're probably going to do about 12, 13 minutes just to get this to freeze. Now, another thing about that too is we had that sit for a little bit, so the cylinder got warmer. Now, if I was to do these batches back to back to back to back, you're not looking at 12 minutes for every single batch. Your very first batch of the day that you run, it's going to take about the normal expected time. Now, if I was to go right back in with another batch, it's going to take about a minute, minute and a half off of your time because your cylinder is still super cold, so it's still freezing. Another thing too is when you're extracting your product, even though you turn off your refrigeration, at least for another 30 seconds to a minute, it's still going to freeze. So if you feel that you're 30 seconds off from being done, go ahead and shut the refrigeration off and start to extract it because it's still freezing. And you'll also notice the back end of the ice cream is a lot thicker than what's already been coming out in the front because it's still freezing. And we can add more into this because it is sugar water. There's no dairy, there's no fat, so it's not going to expand. So it's a 6-quart machine, but we can put 4, 4.5, up to 5 quarts after we add the fruit's worth of liquid in there because it doesn't expand.
Now, the compressor, once you shut off the compressor, is there a delay to turn it back on? A safety delay for compressor?
The compressor, when you shut it off, it's going to keep running for about 30 seconds. And there's Freon gas up here, and it's pumping it back down into what we call the holding tank or receiver. So that process takes a little bit of extra time. So you're still getting, when you shut that switch off, you're still getting a little more refrigeration.
Correct, but you don't like that.
Can you turn the compressor off, and after you hear it go off, can you turn it right back on?
If you turn it right back on, it may not come right back on.
That's why
because the cylinder is so cold, it may not call for it. And I can't think of a reason why you would want to turn it back on after you turn it off.
If you hit it by an accident, you know how AC works, you shut off the AC and the compressor takes time before AC kicks back on.
Well, the compressor will kick on and off even when you're not running anything because it is a pump down unit. So you'll hear it kick on and then kick off. And then even though it's not running, you'll hear it kick back on and then kick back off again.
But the reason we're turning it off in the first place is because the product's ready. If the product's not ready, don't turn it off, just let it go another 30 seconds to a minute.
These machines are not like the conditioner at home in that regard.
I don't think I get that.
So it is ready, so it shall be done.
That's our tech, by the way, who's in there recording. So if you ever call with a technical question, that's the guy you hear.
Yeah.
That's the guy you talk to.
That's Mike.
Yeah.
AC systems at home have about a 5-minute delay from reset. Just there's not.
Okay.
There you
5
go.
minute delay.
5 minute delay. No, we don't. As soon as it warms up, it's going to come on.
Do we need the voltage stabilizer for that machine?
Not if you have stable voltage. Yes, we have electronics in here that we have to have steady voltage coming into it. It's got a decent range. It's 208 to 240. But if you're constantly having low voltage, you could have a problem because as the voltage drops, all the motors and compressors heat up. So you want to have, the only time here that I can think of that being a problem would be in a truck, concession truck with a inexpensive generator that isn't producing a steady voltage. Otherwise, it's really not a problem. But if you're in a remote part of the world, yes, we need fairly stable. Not as stable as a computer or anything sophisticated like that, but it still has to be within a range of stable.
So
Yes, sir.
you need where you planning to put this machine, the power is not stable at all. So I don't know.
That would, let us know what the parameters are, and you can write to Mike at emerythompson.com or any one of us, and we'll turn it over to Mike, and he'll give you the exact figures on that. But you're going to probably need it stable. Yes, sir.
For the power, how many amps does it need?
It takes a 20 amp breaker, which is
20.
really low, and it's not going to come anywhere near that. There's a built-in safety factor, but that's incredibly low. But one thing about the power when you hook it up, just a little trick, is the size of the wire going to it, with the lower number being thicker wire. Your code in your city, county, and state is going to determine what size wire. I tell my customers, whatever they say the wire is for this, go 1 or 2 wires thicker, because you're just building the store, the walls are open, these walls are open, and I know that one day you're going to move up from this to this, which is going to take the next heavier wire or 2 wires heavier. So you run the heavy wire to this machine, you're just not utilizing it fully. But then when you switch up, you don't have to close your store down for a week, tear open the walls. It might cost you $75 more to run a heavier wire for that machine, but use this one.
So the bigger machine also 20 amp breaker?
No, it's a 40 amp breaker
40.
because it's almost double the size of everything. Yeah, the bigger the machine, the more amperage. But still, incredibly efficient. These are Copeland scroll compressors. It's a rotary engine. Instead of a piston engine like this, it's spinning around like that on our big machines, and they just sip electricity. I think they're getting hungry for this. After this, we're going to answer some more questions, and
Probably should let them do a little potty break or coffee break, snack break. Sorry, saying potty. You guys aren't children.
All right.
And then
Ice
do
cream
the
for
other
lunch?
one.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Now, we'll give you a 10-minute break, but not 11.
Has anybody had lavender in any frozen desserts? Or lavender cookies, lavender pastry scones?
It sounds very foo-foo, but
Yeah.
it's really good.
But, you know, some people might think it's potpourri in the mouth, but it's not. It's very refreshing. They're awfully quiet.
Right now they are. They've been pretty good. They've been answering a lot of questions.
Yeah.
It's the Kahlua.
It's the Kahlua. It's mellowed them, yes.
We got that sugar all over me.
It's coming along. Again, higher the sugar content, the longer the freeze time. So that's what we expect it to do.
Of course, these could be made into such as molds or something.
I'm sorry, what?
Pops, such as your
Oh, yes.
sorbets and stuff, made into like such as ice cream pop.
So
Yes.
there's these molds here, and they have a little slot right here at the end that you can put in your stick after you've filled it up. Now with the smaller machines, if you have a dozen of these just sitting there, you can, take it along and just put it on there and just smoosh it down with your spatula. These larger machines, you can't do that with those. You would have to put it into a tub and then just hand pack it yourself. This is those like ice cream cake molds. This is by Mad Maggie, who sells them from Cold Molds. That's her company, COLDMOLDS, coldmolds.com. And I've actually used this one. I haven't tried the popsicle yet, but after you have put your ice cream or layer it with a cake, ice cream cake, whichever, and after it's frozen, they just pop right back out. These are very easy to work with, and it really does make that perfect edge crease too. So definitely an option.
And they're really great at parties if you drink too much. Hello, my honey. Hello, my baby. You didn't think I'd do that, did you? Had to do something to wake you folks up.
It's coldmold.com.
Had you experience much with the frozen cakes or anything? Or viscosity? Have you had much experience viscosity on the frozen cakes for making them?
I don't think I understand.
More overrun, lighter, fluffier?
If it were me, I would probably run a super premium or a gelato because it's more dense and it'll be more richer and creamier when you go to cut into it. And plus, you can always make a bigger buck for that. So you can charge $15 for that little cake. You make the cake yourself, and then you make the ice cream yourself, pack it in there, decorate it real pretty, put $15 on it or $25 depending on your area. But I think a more denser ice cream would hold a lot better than a homemade fluffy.
Christi, the difference between ice cream and gelato is?
Lower fat and a lower overrun.
On which?
The gelato.
And Italian flavorings. You're not going to find salted caramel or peanut butter and jelly as a gelato. This is one of the things I was going to bring up of what sells in America is gelato and ice cream. We'll get that to the questions answered. I like to sell cakes you offer cakes. I think you can get a little bigger size, $20, $22 for this. The beauty of it is when you sell a pint, pints are great. I mean, we're getting $8, $9, $10 a pint. You'll always buy two because I can't come home and say, hey, Paula, look what I bought for myself, some mint chip. And she's going, where's mine? And so I'm going to buy 2 pints and I don't care what the cost is, it's what I want. The cakes are fun, and for the women who don't understand this, let me explain. This is a great thing for men, an ice cream cake, because you bring it home, costs you $22, you serve it up for dinner, and you're taking slices, and everybody loves it. And then it goes back in the freezer, and 11 o'clock at night, when everybody's already gone to bed, if you've got a pint of ice cream and you start eating a few spoonfuls, it's going to be noticed tomorrow. It's almost gone. But the pint, we can take off a 1/4 inch slice and no one's ever going to see it, right? See, I told you. No one's ever going to notice it. And then another 1/4 inch, and it'll last for about 4 days or 5 days, and all of a sudden your wife says, hey, where'd that go? Oh, honey, don't you remember? Of course you don't remember. Don't you remember you had some for dinner last night? I kind of passed on it. I was full. So it's a great, the man feels that he's really getting his money worth out of it.
Thanks for the idea.
You're welcome.
Nice, honest marriage you have.
Paula knows me. She knows
based on lies.
Oh, she's just as guilty.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So from sorbet, you can make the bars?
Could you put it into bars? Sure. It makes great popsicles.
So the thing about sorbet and Italian ice, does anybody know the difference? There isn't. It's the same thing. You go to Pahrump, Oklahoma, they're going to call it Italian ice. You go to Beverly Hills, California, they're going to call it sorbet. We're using something fancy as lavender, so we're going to call it sorbet.
The ice cream popsicles were a big fad about 4 years ago. Everybody was doing them. They were very exotic and very, beautiful displays. And they just didn't sell all that well. They sold for a while, but it was a fad. It disappeared. With one big exception, and that's the Hispanic community, because those are known as paletas, and they are really beautiful fruits, and the bars are beautiful, and the Spanish community is going to be more used to seeing popsicles in a store than someone up in Boston, Massachusetts.
We're ready.
Okay, so it is a great market if you realize it's a targeted market.
Isn't that pretty?
Yes. Let me get you another.
I got it right
smaller
here.
one. There you go.
Oh no, that's the bad one. You want this one. You gonna do the rest?
I think I'm going to put a little more in yours.
Probably. That's okay. And see how well those raspberries, oh dang it, I did it again. Okay. Became little tiny pieces of raspberries. It works. That's the one thing that is the best about our machines is no machine can do that. You'll void your warranty if you tried. And honestly, their dashers just can't handle doing this. You can always puree your fruits, but that's just taking an extra step that you don't need to because the Emery Thompson can do it.
Here's how we eat Italian ice in New York, Jersey, Chicago. Well, a little bit too much. That's called a squeeze cup. Or we call it a squeeze cup. You ask any paper goods supplier on the other side of the George Washington Bridge, and they don't know what a squeeze cup is, but we eat it like that. We squeeze it up from the bottom. Costs nothing. Christi's old employer was Solo, and Solo makes these, but if you ask for squeeze cups, they never heard of it. It's called a pleated, like a lady's dress might be, a pleated water cup. That's the name of it. And these cost next to nothing, and they're great fun to eat it like this. I mean, children of all ages like doing this. And you don't need a bowl, you don't need a spoon, anything. It's just use a squeeze cup. It's a lot of fun and very inexpensive. And I can get $2.50 for this easily.
Oh my God.
Thank you. Yeah, for sugar water. This cost me, this is once I crown this over, this little one is 4 ounces crowned over. It's a 3.5 ounce cup. That cost me 8 cents using this fresh frozen fruit. No chemicals, no additives, just 8 cents, and I'm going to sell it for at least $2.50 and higher. So that's really good. Christi, this is a great flavor.
Thank you.
You like it?
I personally wouldn't make any changes to this. Anybody else have any comments? It's good.
Very refreshing.
Extremely refreshing. On a hot day, ice cream, high-fat ice cream is going to, as I said before, it's going to heat you up. It might make you sweat. This cools you right off. It's like having a bucket of Gatorade poured over your head. And it's affordable, so you can go into any neighborhood and sell this. I can sell it to that fancy restaurant for $8 a portion in a champagne glass, or if I had to sell that for $1 in a poorer neighborhood, I'm still making 90 cents profit. I mean, incredible.
And it's smooth.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel like ice.
No.
Very nice.
But I think, Jeff, in the past you said you wouldn't recommend selling both ice cream and Italian ice.
Correct.
Are you throwing these out?
But why? Why? Because he is strictly based on money. He's got one person walking in, and he's got to get as much money out of that person's wallet today as he possibly can. He'd like to sell him a 3-gallon tub, but he can't, so he can sell him a $6 ice cream or a $2.50 Italian ice. He only gets one shot at selling that person. So Jeff is correct from that standpoint, that he's going to sell him the higher priced item. I like to have a variety of things in my store.
Couldn't you just price it the same? It's a
Same price?
It's $6 whether you want the...
People will never pay $6 for water and sugar.
No, because they've been to New York and they know how cheap it is.
Like the gelato places sell for the same
If you
price.
put your ice cream and your ices next to each other, nobody's buying the ices.
Yes, gelato and sorbet sell for the same price. That's why they're all out of business.
Well, how about we
Because
take a...
I can find you, that'll be part of my argument, but I'm sorry. I can find you a great gelateria in every city, every major city in this country. El Laboratorio is a great example in Manhattan. But for every El Laboratorio, I can find you 1,000 hard ice cream stores that are making equally as good money. So it's 1,000 to 1. So So
But you can sell this as a bar, like a little bar or whatever.
only in the right community. Here in Westchester County, where I'm from, which is, a bunch of white Presbyterians, I'm one of them, and they are not going to buy Pilatus. They don't understand it.
See, where I'm from Hollywood, and we have stores that actually sign just for paletas.
Yes, absolutely, and that's where it's great. So you have to base the product. There are no hardcore answers. It's based on where you are and who your market is. I can sell this all day long for $1 a scoop, where our old factory was in the South Bronx, and I can make $1,000 a day easily selling 1,000 portions because it's inexpensive, it's hot, and it's something that everybody can afford. If my ice cream is $6 a scoop, I've now in that neighborhood just cut way back on my sales. I'm making a lot per sale, but I'm making very few sales because it's not the right product for the neighborhood. So you just have to balance it to what works for you.
Why don't we take a quick little bathroom break, snack break, and then we'll do our Q&A. Yes?
Yes.
So like Steve said, 10 minutes, not 11.
Now, is this break for them or for you?
Well, I got to get stuff done. But yes, they didn't get a break earlier, so we're still way ahead of schedule.
All right, how many people are going to do American-style ice cream? Raise your hands. Okay, how many are going to do Italian ices? And how many are going to do dairy-free? Okay, and gelato.
What are the rest of you
What are
going
the
to
rest of you going to do?
They're here for the free ice cream.
do? Huh?
Okay.
All?
All right, well, I'm going to start off. We do, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show today, we do something called Questions Answered, Christi and I. It's 10 minutes short, and we do it every Wednesday and put it out there on YouTube. So I'm just going to elaborate on that. I had a customer who complained to me, and he said, "You're always bad-mouthing gelato." And I thought about it, I said, well, yeah, maybe it appears that way, but let me see if I can't explain the reasons why. Gelato is sophisticated flavors, very highbrow, pistachio, tiramisu, fruit of Tabasco. These are flavors that adults like and will buy, especially when you're on vacation, keeping in mind all food, all beverage tastes better on vacation. A Heineken beer tastes better on a beach than it does underneath the 3rd Avenue Mugger Mover subway back in the Bronx where my factory was. So when you're over in Italy, everything tastes wonderful. You're on vacation. But what sells? In the 90s, we had a big push, late 90s, early 2000s, a very big push on gelato. Everybody was going on vacation to Europe and coming back saying how wonderful it was. But the sales figures showed that it just wasn't selling that much. What people were buying and are buying today, by a vast majority, is American hard ice cream like we've been making today. Something that's really flavorful, made from ingredients that we know, like blonde Oreo cookies, or salted caramel, or my favorite, mint chip, which I mention all the time. These are flavors that Americans like. And the interesting thing is the United States Dairy Board looks at what sells all around the world. Over in the Arab states, they were very heavily gelato up until a few years ago, and now they have turned to American-style ice cream. The same thing has happened New Zealand, Asia, and Australia. And we see that in the phone calls that we get, that people are calling up about ice cream machines. Africa, to the most part, also is going to be American-style ice cream. South America, Central America, has a lot of European influence, so it's still very much gelato. So the point is, when you set up a business, you have to be able to sell not only a product that you're proud of, but a product that people are going to buy. And if you're selling gelato and the vast majority of people are buying American-style ice cream, you're selling the wrong product. And you will make money, but you won't make what you really could be making if you were selling something people like. So American ice cream is a trend that has been around forever, as far back as you can go. Italian ice is rapidly taking hold, always was big up our way in New York, New England, Chicago, but now it's spreading throughout the country. And the newest thing, dairy-free, which Christi is an expert on if you have any questions, is a non-dairy frozen dessert. We refer to it as an ice cream. The original name was vegan frozen dessert, but vegan sounds terrible, so we call it dairy-free. It's a nicer sounding name. It's a great product, and you've got a whole age group. Jeff and I are the baby boomers, and there are 72 million of us. The millennial age group, about 21 to 39, where Christi fits in, though she's not a millennial. She's a rock rib corporate type.
You want the shovel?
Yeah, right. But that age group is what's looking at the dairy-free the most. And at 85 million of them, how can you ignore it? I call up customers of mine up in New England. I tell them about this dairy-free. And the backlash I got was fascinating. I've mentioned this before in these tapes. They would say, Steve, we've been in business for 70 years with your machine. We've got a nice big family business. We make a lot of money. What do I need with this new fad? And I'm a New Yorker, so I'm rather blunt. And I just say, well, look at the people in your store. What's the average age? Oh, I don't know, maybe 104. Yeah, I say, yeah, exactly. They're really getting old, and they're really enjoying your ice cream, but they're really getting old. How many people in there, how many 35, 38-year-olds with a small child with them are in the store? Oh, I don't know. I think there was one in here last week. Well, if you're going to be in business, you better understand your demographics, because if only one millennial has been in your store last week, you're really missing out on the biggest group that has ever come along in history. So I'm not saying do a whole store in dairy-free. I just wouldn't do it. But I would have 2 to 4 flavors in dairy-free. And on everything I do, social media is the way to go. I mean, even for an old goat like me, social media, I went from doing trade shows to making 500 videos to put out on social media, because this gets a better reaching audience. And so if you advertise every Thursday night your flavor of the week, and if it's something crazy like chocolate jalapeno,
Pickle Italian Ice,
Christi did, it's going to bring people in just because that's crazy. I got to try it. And it's generating advertising for you. It's a wonderful way to advertise yourselves. Costs next to nothing. I mean, up until 3 years ago, I was doing print ads, half a page, black and white, cost me $1,500, and I got next to nothing out of it. Now Christi puts up a picture of our golden retrievers eating ice cream, and we get 1 million hits. I mean, it's incredible. So that was my starting off thing that I wanted to discuss. But if you guys have something to talk about, and we want to hear from you guys with any questions, this is your chance. So yes, sir.
Do y'all make adult Italian ice?
Adult Italian ice?
Of course.
Yes, the alcohol.
I've got lots of recipes for those. What did I did one with tequila rose and pink lemonade. I did one last seminar, pink champagne lemonade, and that was pink champagne and lemonade. The possibilities are endless. I did red sweet wine with mixed frozen berries. You can add alcohol into Italian ice all day long, and you could do a cream ice using Bailey's. Into tequila rose, that's a liqueur, so that's a cream as well, of course.
It's a lot of fun, too.
Yeah.
I have a question. Since you guys have been in business for forever, it seems like, how do you guys come up with your flavors?
You.
I just randomly walk down the store and I pick up items. The Latino aisle, that's one of my favorites. You can always find, the cream of coconuts, and then the frozen fruit section, and just reading things. And I am a big baker. My mom she ran 300 bakeries, so she taught me how to cook, and I know how to do canning. I lived off grid for 10 years, so I know how to do all that. So just even my own recipes that I've used for cooking, and it just inspires and generates from that, like a peach cobbler, the lavender, just throwing different random fruits to see which one works. Even a childhood recipe that you might have had, or the sweet corn with the tahini on it and mayonnaise. Obviously, you don't want to put mayonnaise in there, but there's just come up with something. Walk around the store, and as Jeff says, go supermarketing.
Jeff's the one who invented this, really. They would walk. Go ahead, tell them about it.
No, please.
Yeah, not much. You did.
It could
I say it
only
right,
be out of ignorance
supermarketing?
because I didn't know any better.
But it changed a generation of customers for us because they used to buy 6 cases of strawberry in cans, heavy gloppy strawberries with red dye 40 and corn syrup. And that's the way I made strawberry ice cream up until 10 years ago. And that was the norm. That was the average. And we got a whopping $2.25 for a scoop because we were told we couldn't get any higher. Jeff comes along, charging $5-6, and is going and buying frozen bags of strawberries and throwing them in the machine, saying, "That's it. It's strawberry ice cream. What else do I need?" And it really was ingenious. I get a lot of my flavors. Paula, my wife, our office manager, is an insatiable reader. And around this time of year, all sorts of articles come out about all these great ice creams. Did you read that one yet that I dropped on your desk? This guy was hysterical. Yes. He was more my age. And he went around New York City and critiqued all these new flavors. Every one of them was worse than the other. And the combinations were absolutely ridiculously horrible. But some of them just, I look at it and I just say, hey, that sounds like a lot of fun. Let's make an ice cream that the more cold ice cream you eat, the hotter you get. That's the jalapeno. The pickle, we had a customer call up and he says, my #1 selling ice cream is pickle. And we go, ew, that's disgusting.
I wanted to figure that out. So I did. What was the other one that we did? Oh, bacon. I had a customer ask me, how do you make ice cream with real bacon? I said, I don't know, but I'll find out. And I did. I had my husband candy the bacon with some brown sugar and maple syrup, and it went into the machine with some more brown sugar. And Paula and I went to a bistro, and they had matcha green tea. It was the best iced matcha green tea ever. Shush, it was so good. So,
I didn't say anything.
It was fantastic. It's one of our favorite drinks, and we decided to figure out how to make that into an ice cream. So took the ingredients from the matcha green tea drink and put it into the dairy mix to make the ice cream.
All right, who wants matcha tea ice cream or bourbon vanilla with real bourbon? Yay! Okay, that answers that one. But see, the idea is that when you have your own machine, your own store, you can do anything you want. You can have fun with it. I'm not going to relive the story about my Sharknado Italian ice because it got me sued too many times.
Or mint Italian ice.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my mint. Christi tasted my mint chip Italian ice. And she took one, there's a crowd like this. She takes one taste of it and she turns and she goes, well, I won't need mouthwash for another 3 months. But I like to make bad ice creams because every once in a while, something that sounds horrible, like the Boston favorite, the grape nuts, is a great flavor.
It is.
You don't know until you try it.
But understand, if you're going into business, you have the other side of the counter are customers.
Yeah.
And
always stick with the basics.
Sure, you can offer jalapeno chocolate ice cream, but it's not going to put your kids through college.
No.
In my opinion, neither will dairy-free or sugar-free, but that's another subject. But you have to take 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 recipes and decide which ones to use and make them tried and true. Now, for 10 years, I never had vanilla on my menu. Never sold vanilla ice cream because I was in a quest to be the other guy. So I didn't have vanilla, I didn't have chocolate, I didn't have strawberry, I didn't have pistachio, and I succeeded hugely by having my own flavors. And those original flavors, by the way, are in the book, the 20, 25 flavors. That's what got me going for close to 10 years and a lot of money. But as you get into this, you're going to want to play. It's natural. You're going to want to become Steve and Christi. And you'll be at a restaurant and they'll have a flavor of dessert, a triple layered chocolate death cake, and boy, that would make a great ice cream. So you'll go back and you'll play with it. And sometimes you'll develop a world-class flavor. Not necessarily the extreme ones with jalapenos or bacon in it, but other flavors. And you'll play with them, and then you'll say, whoa, you'll have your friends try it, and before you know it, you've got a world-class flavor, something your competitors don't have. I was always looking for that. I don't want my competitors to have it. We wanted Oreo cookie ice cream. but everybody's got Oreo cookie ice cream. So what I did was I combined it with Nestle Crunch bars for little bits of crunch in it, and I called it Oreo Crunch. And that's still a top seller in our store now, but it's different. They can't get that anywhere. Kahlua Cookie, can't get that anywhere. So we have probably close to 30 on our board, our menu board, and I would say that you couldn't find 25 of them anywhere else. But you know, you'll come across it. It's natural to want to play, and when you have the machine that can do it, and you get the dairy mix, and you realize you can turn, as Christi said, you can turn anything into ice cream. Some will be good, some won't, but you can make ice cream out of anything. I always keep a pad and pen by my bed, and I wake up and I write something down, and then I'll either look at it in the morning and laugh and throw it away, or in my spare time I'll give it a shot. Mm-hmm. And there's a way to do these, as I said before, on the table. You know, with certain measurements, you can create a recipe, try, and if it's good, just do some simple math, and then you got it in the machine, you're ready to go.
So what you see here is there is a balance between the two of them. It really is great when you have your own machine, because Breyers is not going to do anything, or Hershey's is not going to do anything exotic. They're going to play it straight, comfortable, and the flavors are not going to pop. They're just going to, I mean, their coffee looks like brown water, and it tastes like brown water. It doesn't taste like coffee. So making your own, you have the ability to do all this. Plus, with the way shipping is nowadays and delays, you've got inventory problems. You might have salted caramel as your number one flavor, and your supplier says, I'm sorry, we won't have that again till August. Well, your customers aren't going to understand that. They come in. I contend that 95% of the people walking into your store already know what flavor they're going to buy. We all have our favorite. We'll look at the others, and we'll probably taste the others, and I want to try to sell you a pint. They're still going to sell me my mint chip, but I'm going to take home a pint of coconut just to try it. But don't discount, and I'm sure you won't, the social media aspect of it, because I do want a fantastic vanilla ice cream, but it's not going to get me 50,000 hits talking about a vanilla ice cream, talking about how Christi made the pickle ice cream, and the only social redeeming value, Italian ice, the only social redeeming value of pickle Italian ice was that Mickey, your husband, did make this beautiful flat bacon, and we stuck a piece into every cup. I don't have one here. And people just love the fact that they can use the bacon as a scoop for this awful Italian ice.
It wasn't awful.
It was.
To you, well, that's because you guys don't like pickles. I'm a pickle junkie.
Yes, you are a pickle junkie.
I am. It's whatever I eat or order, it's extra pickles with a side of pickles and then extra.
I mean, you could throw bacon on Brussels sprouts, and I might even eat it.
I do that.
Yeah. So anyway, there is. Jeff is absolutely right, and our aspect of it is a bit of a fun part that's going to try to get people to talk about you. The wonderful thing that's happened about this is when you went to look for a location, it had to be the richest town in the best county and the best location and the best parking in order to be a successful ice cream parlor. Now, thanks to social media, just the way Paul and I go to restaurants, we don't go to large name restaurants. There's a place in Palm Beach called Bucan, and it's $1 gazillion to walk in the door. We don't go there. We go to places that are a little hole in the wall that someone texted us and said, we went there last week, they only have 30 seats, but the chef changes the menu every night. What a great restaurant. And so what's happened with location, and Jeff has talked about this for years, is you don't need to you don't have to go into total debt to get a great location. You put up a good sign that says ice cream, as he says. I would put up something a little fancier, but still same gist, and advertise it on social media, and people will find you like they never have before. And it's just a wonderful medium to be in the ice cream business, because after all, again, as Jeff says, you're selling something that everybody on earth either eats or wishes they could eat. Now, you can't say that about coffee, you can't say it about steak, certainly wouldn't say it about Brussels sprouts. So it is a really wonderful product that we're selling here, is frozen desserts.
I'll never forget the, oops, sorry.
What is the market on like ice cream cakes? Like, is there a market for that? I mean, I know like Dairy Queen and things like that.
For what? Ice cream?
Ice cream cakes. I think it's a tremendous market for what I was talking about is that you, for $22, which seems like a lot, you're really getting your value. That cake lasts more than dinner. The pints are only going to last for dinner or maybe 11 o'clock tonight. Then you got to go buy more. But that cake is going to stay around for days. Carvel always went on the theory that everybody on earth has a birthday, and an ice cream cake's a heck of a lot more fun than a regular cake. There's a guy, Mike's Ice Cream in Secaucus, New Jersey. The average car is either going by at 140 miles an hour past his store or 0 because of the traffic to the Holland Tunnel. And you look at his freestanding building, he's got 3 freezers stuck onto the building. Well, Mike, who would not qualify, he's a wonderful man, but he wouldn't qualify as a star salesman, had a great idea. Right around the corner from him, over by the Jersey Turnpike, was this building complex called Harmon Cove. That actually stands for Hart's Mountain Corporation, the birdseed people. And they built buildings to lease out, and so every floor had bunches of different offices. And Mike thought to himself, you know, I'm not getting dressed up outside of a dirty T-shirt and a pair of jeans. That's all life requires. So I'm not going to get to see the CEO of all these different corporations. So one day he made a bunch of ice cream cakes, brought napkins, and brought forks or spoons and his business cards. And he knew he could go see the receptionist. And so he went and saw the receptionist of every business on every floor, dropped off a free cake with the spoons and the plates and his business cards, and said, next time you have a corporate event, instead of giving them a bologna sandwich and a Diet Coke, call me up, I'll bring over a couple of pies or ice cream cakes. Next time one of the staff has a birthday party, call me, we'll bring over a pie. He gets all their business just in this tight little area because he found a niche market that was fantastic. One last thing about it is when I was raising 4 kids, my only job, other than to sit on a chair and watch baseball on weekends, was to go out and pick up the birthday cake for one of the children's birthday. All right, I can do that. I went to Longford's Ice Cream in Rye to pick it up. And then the phone call comes, and it's, oh, by the way, we need cups and spoons, and we need spoons and plates. Don't forget to get them. And don't forget the candles. Well, now I got to go to Walgreens, and I probably have to go to, some other store to get the candles. Now I've got 3 jobs to do, and that damn cake, that darn cake is melting. So my job just got really difficult, and I'm really not happy about it. So what does Longford's do? He also carries very simple plates and napkins and birthday candles. I don't care what it costs. If I had to pay $7 for a 2 to put on the cake, I'll pay for it because it means I don't have to hunt all over town for a 2 for the 2-year-old. And so it made life easy for me. So they sold everything associated with the birthday cake. They don't have a display of 20 cakes. Up in New York, you go into a diner, and there are cakes and pies. When you first walk in, who buys this stuff? You came for scrambled eggs, bacon, and hash browns, and they've got these cakes. Well, people do buy them, but you go to an ice cream parlor and you see a cake display, and that cake's 4 days old. So what Longford's does, I'll quit.
Oh, no, you're fine.
What Longford's does is he's got a book of nice pictures. Sits down with you and says, here's, you're having 9 people. I suggest you buy this next larger cake because some of the fathers are going to pick up kids and they'd like a piece too. So he upsells them on that. He says, now your cake's not made, but we're going to make it the day before. And what I suggest is, we can make you any flavor you want, but Oreo cookie is really popular with the kids. Well, he's got 15 Oreo cookie pre-made cakes in the freezer. So he's pushing you to the Oreo cookie. He's upsold you to the larger size. All he has to do is put some frosting on it and the kid's name, and it's done. And that is a big business.
And
so,
he does the sheet cakes and the round cakes? Or?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's a great business. But you don't have to buy a fancy display. Just get a nice book and sit down with the mom and say, this is what I recommend. And what time's the party? The party's at 3. We'll have it ready when we open at 10 a.m. We'll make it the night before after we close. So the inclination is, oh, that's really fresh. And it is. It's just been in a hardening cabinet, 25 below freezer. Yes, sir.
Well, I have a question about the machine.
Mm-hmm.
I think at some point earlier you mentioned that, but I didn't quite understand. You said that for the CB350, we can only fill like half the batch, right?
It makes 6 to 7 quarts.
So the capacity is based on the finished product, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So can I do the full batch? I mean, I put in like 6 or 7 quart of liquid.
No, because ice cream has air in it.
Yeah.
If you put 7 quarts in it, it would take a half hour to freeze, and it would be an ice cream that nobody would want to eat.
Okay.
Because ice cream consists of milk, cream, sugar, skim milk, and air.
Yeah.
Without air, it's just like eating a big, slice of lard.
So how much can I put in?
It can double. So you put 3.5 quarts in and get 7 back.
Oh, just half. Yeah, just around half.
Yeah, 3.5 quarts in, 7 quarts
So how
back.
about the bigger machine, like the 12?
Proportionally bigger. If it's a 24 quart machine,
Yeah.
you put in 12 quarts and you can
Okay.
get up to 24.
Okay, just half.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
We have lunch.
Not yet, keep talking.
Oh, one more question? Anybody got one more?
I have one
2 minutes.
more question.
Okay.
It's still a bit silly because I'm new in this business.
No silly
So what is
question.
the difference between that hardening freezer and the regular freezer, like the Master Chef one?
Good question.
Why do we need that one?
Good question. Because the regular freezer, like the ones over on the side wall over there, which are only $800, they are designed, they can go to 15 below zero. But they're designed for you to buy frozen green beans and frozen pizzas at the supermarket. They're already frozen and you're bringing them home and they're maintaining the product frozen. The cabinet didn't have to do any work. If I want to make soup and I want to freeze it, so if I make 10 gallons of soup and put it into that 10 below cabinet, that's such a load on the cabinet. It's so much work to go from hot soup to frozen soup that the temperature in there isn't going to be 10 below. It's going to go all the way up to plus 40 or 50. And if that was ice cream, the ice cream would have been ruined. It's made to hold a cold temperature, not to pull it down. We can make it work slightly in the short run to freeze ice cream by only filling it up 1/3 of the way. So if it's got 3 levels, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, I can fill up the bottom level today and freeze it overnight, and it will do the job. And then that's like having blocks of ice. So tomorrow I can put another 1/3 in, and I've got my product the next day. And then the third, and then I've got the 3rd day. So we're looking at 4 days to fill up that cabinet. This is designed to go to 25 below Fahrenheit and stay no warmer than minus 15, give or take. So no matter how much ice cream, I can make ice cream for 10 hours and fill that up. I can only use the chest freezer for an hour before it's full, and then I have to quit for the day. So I can put much, much more product in there because it doesn't just go to 25 below, it pulls the heat out of the ice cream. If it was that hot soup, it's literally going to pull the heat out. And that's what makes it a hardening cabinet or a blast freezer. There's only a few of them on the market, and they're very unique, and it's going to allow you to do much, much more volume in your store instead of having to buy 10 or 12 of the chest freezers, which you can do it, but nobody has a store that big. We're doing 900 square foot stores now instead of 2,000 square foot.
So is that the rough calculation, 1/3? So say you have a walk-in freezer, I could do 1/3. I could fill in 1/3 if I don't have a blast freezer?
A walk-in freezer is a whole different ballgame. A walk-in freezer can be set to go to, say, 15 below. And you have enough, you can put enough refrigeration on it that it won't get warmer than 10 below. So it's acting like a hardening cabinet, but the difference is I put my tubs in there, and they're in very tight and very close, not much airspace, and it's got to be really cold and work really hard to do the job, and it does. The walk-in room, I've got shelves everywhere, and I've got space between the tubs, and the blowers are going, and when I open the door here, the cold is falling out until I close the door, and the walk-in, I close the door behind me so I'm not losing the cold. So if you go the route of a walk-in, you can do 15 below and get the same net effect of this being 25 below. Because the walk-in is going to have much, much more space. And if you know that you're going to be that big, the walk-in is a great option.
Right. Well, we already have one. That's why.
Yeah, it's the perfect option. And even if you had one that only went to 0, you could still add on another condensing unit, refrigeration unit, and make it go colder.
Okay. Thank you.
So that'll work. Let's eat. It's all right over there. Help yourselves.
So it's one of my former students texted me and he said there's a candy out there like this and it's called Terry's Chocolate Orange, and it looks like an orange made of chocolate. So he said let's make an ice cream out of it. So he came up with a recipe, I came up with a recipe, and now this is sort of an in-between. So we'll try it. We'll see what happens, all right? So we're going to use 5 quarts of mix. This one you should write down. I'm just kidding. This is 5 quarts of mix. And we have to make it chocolate. So I have Ghirardelli's fine ground chocolate powder. It's very good. So we'll fire it up.
Am I stealing your thunder?
I wish you would. And we'll add some of this. Probably half of a quart, which would be how many ounces? Quick.
16.
Good girl. See, the guys are ready. Let me see. I got to divide them. Can it be too chocolatey?
Never.
Never. So let's go for it.
So that's sweetened chocolate powder. Is that sweetened? Sweetened?
Sweet?
Sweetened?
Sweet,
Chocolate?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not cocoa powder.
Right, just checking.
All right. Now we'll add 12 ounces of FCOJ. Okay? And then we'll add 24 ounces of this mystery liquid.
What's in the mystery liquid?
It's a mystery.
And what is that COJ?
Orange, concentrated orange juice.
Ah, okay.
He's getting fancy.
And then I thought we'd throw in some white chocolate just to play. Oops, we also have dark brown sugar.
Now, is this recipe in your book?
No. No.
So when are you going to do another book?
I knew there was a method to your madness. I am writing the second book. It'll be available in about 30 days.
Boy, it's about time. What did it take you, 10 years?
Yes, yes. But this one will have many more recipes in it, including some adult
that
recipes.
aren't found in the first book. Obviously, okay.
Hello.
Okay.
Wow, that's good.
You sound surprised.
Yeah.
You're the creator of it.
I don't think I'm even going to add the rest of this. But chocolate, white chocolate chips, right? That would be good. Okay, fire it up. Done. And it's called chocolate orange. You haven't tried it. I think it's good.
Chocolate orange is best.
At only $50. A bargain.
The secret ingredient is a...
I'm not gonna say it, I'll keep my mouth shut.
Let's try it first. Then we'll disclose, if you like it, we'll disclose the secret ingredient, okay? If not, you don't get it, doesn't matter.
Hopefully, okay.
Yes, yes.
Speaking of bucks, and it only took you, what, 10 years to do your second one?
Okay, here we go. Yes.
Okay, so Emery Thompson, it's been 118 years and we still don't have one. So with that said, I have been working on one and hopefully we'll have it finished by the end of this year. It's going to be, no offense, a little fancier. It'll have the batch freezer recipes just like you see in Jeff's. And so just keep an eye out for that. Like I said, fingers crossed I can get it done by the end of this year. So keep an eye out. Okay, back to you.
But you'll let us know through the website, right?
It'll be on the website as well as probably do an email to our subscribers. So if you're not a subscriber that you've heard us talk about, just go to emerythompson.com, click the little orange tab that says Q&A, and then fill out that information and you'll automatically be put on our subscriber list. You'll get that weekly video that Steve and I do, as well as the formulas, recipe of the week, and anything that in the industry that comes up.
But Jeff's new book with the working title, I Am the Greatest, will be out this fall. Oh no, that's delicious.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
Okay.
really strong
Okay.
chocolate flavor.
Okay.
And the kind of chocolate I like.
And
sweet.
orange, right?
And orange.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to
Okay.
try it.
There we go.
Well, I feel left out.
Well, you're not left out. You're the only one besides Jeff who knows what the secret ingredient is.
That is right.
So here's the recipe. For a 12-quart machine, 5 quarts of mix, 12 ounces of frozen concentrated orange juice, not frozen, of course, half a pound of dark brown sugar, and 24 ounces of the mystery, and a package of white chocolate chips. 12 ounces. Got it?
Do you want to pass it around, let them sniff it?
No, this is no sniff testing here. Have them with dripping.
Since you've turned into a marketing group, maybe we could sell them a secret decoder ring that will tell them what the special flavor is.
Hey, what are these things?
I think I'm going to stop.
Those are your cookies.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I couldn't tell from smelling it.
I'm not going to spill
I
the
know
beans.
it's strong, but I couldn't say what it is.
I'm going to let Jeff do it.
It's not Orange Crush, is it?
No, it's
That used to be my favorite soda.
It's too syrupy for that.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess you could reduce it down. Right.
So, anything else? Today was a different class. Today was like playtime. You know, a little of this, little of that. But don't misunderstand. Opening an ice cream store is a piece of cake. You don't have to do any of this. You can just get your hands on 10, 12 recipes, get a machine, and make ice cream that'll be world class. It won't be like anybody else's ice cream. You will be able to make the world's best ice cream. Right? They all do it now because they had hours and hours of making world-class ice cream. And that's really all you need. Then the rest, you don't even have to be creative. You can just do it as a business because it's ice cream. So the creativity is what we're playing with here, and it's fun. And you may or may not get into it. Just remember that if you sell ice cream in an establishment and it's homemade, you'll be rich. You'll be rich financially, emotionally, and you'll have independence because it's ice cream. If you all turned around and looked at the road behind us, every single car driving by, every single one, and it'll be that way for the next 100 years, every single car, they want what you're going to have. And what you're going to make is unique because no one else does it. Everyone else buys their ice cream with emulsifiers and stabilizers and fake colors and all that crap that makes it not taste like what we do. What we do is as close to that bucket that Grandma used to churn as possible. And you can't buy that. And everybody in the world wants it. So make a small investment and get into the business for yourselves, for your family, for your friends, for generations. He's going to get into business. He has a 6-year-old. And I know that when that 6-year-old is in junior high school and then into high school, he's going to work in the ice cream store. It's Dad's ice cream store. So this is what we want. This is why this is the greatest business on earth. Not only the greatest business on earth, we went through all the numbers. This is the most profitable business you can even imagine. You can't even think of anything with this kind of profit in it. Simple, is this a simple business? This is a simple business. Simple, high profitable. That's it. Sorry.
Very good.
Ooh.
If you want some of those chocolate oranges, they sell them at a store up the road for me. I'll mail them to you.
They sell them what?
At a store right up the road for me. A bunch of them.
It's all right. You've heard of them, Terry's chocolate oranges, yeah.
Jeff likes to use the secret ingredient.
That's the secret ingredient.
Yeah.
Terry's orange.
Yeah, that cup, sure.
First we'll taste it, we'll see what it tastes like.
Terry's chocolate orange.
Anyone sick of ice cream yet? No? Still ready?
We have one more after this to make. But after this, any questions you have, ask him now, because after this, Jeff has to leave. He's flying up to New York to be on Good Morning America, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
GMA.
Talk about the ice cream?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I believe it.
And the new book.
And the new book. Soon to be written.
Yes, soon to be written.
They've already put on a bestseller.
Yes, it's pre what bestseller? Publishing bestseller.
Ah, excellent.
We are at an airport, so his private jet is right there.
Where are we going with all this?
I don't know. I'm going with the flow.
As well you should.
No questions? Nothing else right now? All right.
Actually, I have one. So if you do decide to do the ices with the ice cream in your store, and I know you said some stuff in your other videos, like having 2 different cabinets or 2 different freezers.
Yes.
That's the way to go, like a different temperature for each type?
Ice cream is normally scooped around 6 to 7 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
Italian ices with no chemicals in it is 16 degrees Fahrenheit. So yes, I want 2 separate cabinets. If you ever go to an ice cream parlor that has Italian ices and ice cream together, leave.
Right.
Just leave right away. The Italian ices have a lot of chemicals in them to suppress the temperature, so they can do that.
So what about like the dairy-free ice cream?
That can really go either way. It can either go into the ices cabinet at the 4 corners where it's colder, or you can put in the ice cream cabinet towards the center. I'll just show this to you real quick. This is a gadget that one of my customers told me about. It's only $32. The company, you can write to me if you need to know the model number. It's called Ink Bird. I think they just picked 2 words that meant nothing together. And then B-I-R-D, Ink Bird. We got time? I'll go quick. You can buy an inexpensive cabinet for your ices. Very inexpensive, nothing special. And use this device. This is like putting Christmas lights up on your front of your porch. When you hang your lights at Christmas time, you then plug them into a timer, and the timer turns the power onto the lights at sunset and turns it off at 2 in the morning. This is got a temperature probe, and so we're going to drop this into the cabinet. The cabinet normally just pulls down to 10 below, and that's it. So we're going to plug the cabinet into this, set it for 16 degrees Fahrenheit, and now we're bypassing the thermostat. This little bulb is just going to read to here, and it hits 16 or 17, and it shuts the power, like the Christmas lights, shuts the power off to the cabinet. So the cabinet can't go any colder no matter what the thermostat says.
So if I put this under my tongue,
That will.
Let me plug it in. Let me plug it in for you. And then when it gets down to 16, it shuts the power off. When it gets up to 17, it turns the power back on. $32 at Amazon. I can't endorse them because I didn't make it, but I have a lot of customers who have bought this, and I've got the model number just not with me, so you can email me, steve@emerythompson.com. But this is a great way to get into ices with just a $400 cabinet instead of a $2,500 Italian ice cabinet. Jeff's pulling his product. We'll get to you afterwards.
I have just a quick question. Does the CB200, countertop one,
The 200, yeah.
make all types of ice cream like a CB350?
Yes. It doesn't have the speed control, but it makes super premium Italian ice, dairy-free, gelato, just about everything that the not the very high end and not the very low end, but it does almost everything this does.
So the only thing it doesn't have, it doesn't come with the speed control.
That's right.
Okay.
There's no
so
room.
you do it manually.
You just have one speed.
One speed.
Yeah, but it will hit all those ranges.
Oh, okay.
So it's a great machine. That's the one that Christi has at home, and I don't have one.
Couldn't you technically just take one home?
I could. The only reason Christi got one is her daughter came to me and said, "Could you please give my mom a raise? She needs a raise." And I said, "Go away, kid. You bother me. I don't give out money, but I will give you a free ice cream machine." So she got a free ice cream machine at home.
Emily does have fun making the ice cream.
Yeah. Christi's actually just a mouthpiece. Her daughter Emily's coming up with all these great flavors.
No. She's a plain Jane. She's a vanilla, chocolate, strawberry kind of gal.
Oh, I'm going to have a lot of good ice cream to give out to the banks.
Do you think we can use it at home, the CB350?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll plug in your kitchen nicely. It's 110 voltage.
It's 220. I mean the other one, 350.
Oh, the 350? No. Yes, you could, but you're going to have to run a special power line, just like you have for your clothes dryer or your electric oven or your central air conditioning.
Ooh.
So an electrician can do that. That's not hard.
delicious.
There you go.
¿Qué es lo que es?
Well, you're not using the dry.
Chocolate orange.
Because my wife wants to experiment it.
What is the formal name of this ice cream?
Chocolate orange.
What's what?
Chocolate orange, right?
Yes. You like it? Oh, good.
Yeah, it's very good. I still don't know what the secret ingredient is.
And you may never.
The thickness throws me off.
The thickness? Oh, okay, okay.
of the orange.
Yes,
Yeah, the secret ingredient.
yes.
We know it's orange, but I can't see what it's derived from.
Well,
I know what
I.
it is.
Hey, hey, hey.
You want that raised?
Sorry, Jeff. Steve wins.
Oh, come on.
He signs my paycheck.
It's not always about money.
It's always
Yeah,
about
it
money.
is.
Really?
Yes, it
Loyalty, friendship.
Yeah, and money.
You guys are inscrutable.
So what do you guys think of that one?
Delicioso.
This one is very good.
Excellent.
Approximately the temperature of this is coming out at. So, you know, like you say, -7 or 7 degrees scooping, what would this be coming out at?
23, 22, 21, somewhere in that range. Fahrenheit.
Actually colder than that.
Freeze this before serving.
Yes, and Jeff and I always have this argument, and I'm right. The flavor is enhanced after freezing. It gets stronger. Lots of people will try my vanilla and say, you didn't use enough vanilla. You wait 8 hours and try it again, and the flavor blooms. That does not happen with sugar water. So Italian ice, what you taste in the bucket is what you're going to get.
a
But this
chocolate
flavor will be
orange.
better this time tomorrow,
In general.
in general.
To go over the temperatures again. 25 degrees is for good storage on the ice cream?
No, 10 below.
Well, I
Minus-
say it was minus 25, that's what I meant.
This goes to minus 25, minus 10 will store it okay.
All right, so minus 25 for a longer storage period.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll buy that.
It's
You
good.
like freeze there and you put in a normal, correct?
Yeah,
And it like faster to
yes,
make
or
it.
I can leave it in here.
Correct, but
Yeah, it's all a matter of inventory control. You need product to sell. So if you're going to run out, you've got to figure out how not to run out. And so that's where this can help you, because it can freeze it very hard, very fast, and help you fill up your other
that's my
cabinets.
point. You freeze there and move
Yeah,
something not
right.
as expensive.
Or if there's a hurricane coming, freeze it here and leave it here.
Oh, I see.
You know, this business is all weather dependent. You'll eat ice cream in the middle of a snowstorm. Think about it. If it's snowing out, you walk to your car. But if it's raining, you run to your car. So you can't really sell ice cream when it's raining. And then I look at Seattle, Washington, which sells a lot of ice cream, and it never stops raining. So there goes that theory. But for the most part, people won't buy ice cream when it's raining. Would you agree with that?
No, it's not true. We came from state of Washington.
Okay. Well, see, you look at rain differently. We look at we're getting wet. It's like people in Florida. Oh, I don't have to take a shower tonight. It's nice.
Correct. We was walking and it's like, oh, we're taking a shower.
Well, Jeff, you heading out?
I'm heading out.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming. Good to see you. We'll see you in June. No, this is June. August.
Thank you.
August, that's right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
And where's your
The
store?
secret
You can come to
ingredient
visit.
before
Whoa,
you go.
what?
Okay.
What?
Where is your store? We can come and taste
Daytona Beach.
Daytona Beach.
Yes, it's about 3 hours from here.
And what's the name of it?
Cherry Hill Ice Cream.
Jerry Hill Ice Cream?
Cherry.
Cherry
Like
Hill.
the fruit.
Cherry, okay.
Or Jerry Hill, it doesn't matter.
And the secret ingredient?
Yeah, what's the secret ingredient?
Nope,
No?
nope.
Jello?
Jello? What?
Yeah.
In
No.
other words, you don't want us to be able to make the ice cream.
Well, I'll tell you what. When you get your machine and get your store, where is it going to be?
Panama.
You call me, I'll go to Panama and I'll tell you the secret ingredient.
Will you come to Cleveland when I open my store?
Depends if you email me.
Hey, Jeff, this room's filled with people, and your car is a little far away. I don't think you'll make it.
What is your email?
Right up. Oh, who's blocking my sign?
He has two.
Oh, that's
Who's-
yours sign.
Give me that. Here's the email is right there.
The spelling is odd, so be careful. It's X, the letter X, HIPPEE, xhippie@AOL.com.
or
No, it'll be thicker with more recipes.
okay. And then for Good Morning America, like when would it air? On
I don't know.
Oh, okay. One of those. Gotcha.
Okay, what are we doing? Peach cobbler.
Come on, Jeff. Oh.
Do you want to pass those, please?
I'll take that. Drive carefully. Yeah. No, don't fall asleep on the ride home.
Okay, what am I doing?
We're gonna have quarts.
Maybe. So we got a bladder? We got a bladder.
Let me get you one.
I got.
Okay.
Oh, I need the vanilla. You could talk to them about Lockhead.
Okay. While Christi's getting that ready, there's a lot of different vanillas on the market. Vanilla is an expensive product depending on how you buy it. This is a company that we use called Lockhead, Lochhead. It's on our website at emerythompson.com under key suppliers. This is a natural, all natural vanilla. There are artificial vanillas or vanillas mixed with vanillin. There's all natural vanilla, and then there's pure vanilla. Pure vanilla is up around $700 a gallon. This is about $120 per gallon, maybe a little higher, and it's called all natural. Well, that's what I'm looking for, is all natural. And I have tried the difference between pure vanilla and all natural, and I cannot tell the taste difference. But where Jeff and I and Christi say, don't worry about the cost of ingredients, at $700 a gallon, you have to worry about the cost of ingredients. So I'm looking for a great vanilla, and you're not going to get a vanilla this good in a supermarket or at Webstron or any place like that. So this is what we recommend, Lockhead Vanilla, and you may not remember it unless you write it down. It's flavor number 103, A is an alpha, 103 alpha, and that is their all-natural vanilla. And Lockhead is in Fenton, Missouri, and offices in Colorado. And if you need more information on it, we can send you right to Darren Rotman, who is the person we deal with at Lockhead. Excellent, excellent product. And everybody judges your ice cream parlor by your vanilla ice cream. If you're using a cheap vanilla, it shows up right away. You taste Breyer's ice cream, and you don't even know it's vanilla. It says vanilla on the label, otherwise you wouldn't know it. Excuse me. Now here's this famous pie.
Cobbler. Peach cobbler.
Mom's recipe?
Mine.
Oh, your recipe.
My recipe.
Oh, I credited your mother.
So.
Here's the dog.
Dog, the door.
The dog, the dog.
Uh-oh.
Well, while he gets Sammy, so we're just going to go ahead and start this. How many other machines can you do this with? None.
Can they look at ice cream? Oh, it was just.
Yes.
It's okay.
It was just a little.
No,
He just like lit out like on the wall.
all right, you. Come on. Come on. Yes, bro.
So I know I don't have no friends.
Yeah, for life. Hi, everybody. This is Sammy, one of our two Goldens, and Sammy is about to Okay? There you go.
You just showed. You just showed.
Whoa, what's going on here, Sammy? Okay, I think it was the collar. Here we go.
And this is Paula.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
That's it. Paula is Sammy's mom.
You
just
can
not
do
as much
that
hair.
with brownies that you make. You can do that with, you know, a cake that you make, your favorite cake. It doesn't matter. It goes right into the machine. Another way that you could do it is freeze. I could have frozen that and then put it into some squares and then chopped it up real fine into a ninja. I don't need to do that. Peaches are soft. The rest of the ingredients are very soft. And the machine is going to just break that down beautifully. So you actually are eating peach cobbler ice cream.
Very simple ice cream to make.
It is. And you don't even have to make it. You can just go to the store and find an apple pie. I've done that myself. You know, and our machine was actually in a Lifetime movie. Everybody knows what those are, right? Lifetime movies, of course. So, you know, the machine was, it was one of the older style, larger machines. And it was, she had a farm, an apple farm or something like that. And they were trying to save their farm. And so they had to come up with something. So she took the apple pie and shoved it right into the machine. And they saved their farm. Of course, traditional Lifetime movie.
Yeah.
It ends in happy. Smells good.
So after this
So
batch,
it all depends on your recipe for the peach cobbler.
That I won't disclose. Did Jeff tell you the secret ingredient?
No, he
didn't.
spill the beans.
No, I don't want to do that. I can't do that.
Nobody can make the product unless they do.
I don't know. It might ruin his reputation if I did.
All right. We'll
Because he
find
just
out.
talked about all natural.
Yeah, true. That obviously was not.
Well,
It's look like orange preserve. It's look like an orange preserve, you know, like in like
marmalade.
marmalade.
That's what I
something
said it
like that.
tasted like.
Yeah.
It's not, but
Right.
good try.
We won't let anything get out of this room.
Is it really
Yeah, it does
bugging
the
you guys
cameras.
that bad?
It is.
Is it? You guys
Of course,
really want to know?
because that ice cream was delicious.
Besides, we can get
Better
to
not
learn.
rat me out.
Let's see.
Oh, iRice.
What is it?
iRice Company, mango
So,
base.
It's actually a mango base, but if you were to taste it, it tastes just like an orange marmalade. I wouldn't say oranges, but an orange marmalade. This was on a whirl. He did not plan to do this. This was, what did he, I can't remember. It was first thing this morning, so me and Jeff went supermarketing, and we were scanning to see what would work and was sniffing everything, and this is what it was that came out to the winner. And it worked out really well. So iRice is very famous for Italian ices. The directions are on the bottle, but you can use it in ice creams. Jeff has done it before, and it's a really great product. It really is. It smells great. It tastes great on its own. It has a high sugar content as well.
Fresh mango is hard to do because there's different varieties of mango and they don't stay ripe very long, and they're hard to work with. The iRice mango is the best Italian ice that I've ever made using that type of product, is the iRice mango. It's excellent. And mango has become the #2 flavor in Italian ice after lemon, which is really surprising.
Really?
I made mango when my kids were very young. Now they're all in their late 30s and so. And I swear when I brought home mango Italian ice, they would have eaten the frozen green beans before they would have touched the mango in the freezer. But it's gotten so popular and it's excellent. And I've tried working with fresh mangoes. It's just way too much work, and you need consistency when you're making ice cream. And with the variations, I mean, there's not much difference between strawberries or raspberries, but with mangoes and the different types, it's enough to drive you crazy.
100 varieties at least.
Yeah,
And
so
they all taste a little bit
a
different.
lot of different varieties. So the iRice is a good way to go on that.
So the iRice is not a syrup,
It's a base.
It is like a syrup.
Yeah.
It's called a base.
Okay.
It's really good product. You can take it.
So
and
how would
snip
that
it.
be different from like Toronto?
That's a syrup. That's a base. That's like more thicker.
More thicker?
It's a. I don't know how to. It's a syrup and a base. Like how do you?
It's specially made for Italian ice.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Terrani can be used for anything. This is for Italian ice.
What did we? So we talked about sugar and the freeze time. So all I did was vanilla ice cream and peach cobbler. What do you think? What have you learned? So what do you think the freeze time is going to probably be around?
11 minutes?
A little high. Well, being the first batch that we're starting it up, I could see that. So that's about approximate.
9?
I would put it more at 9 minutes. Because the cylinder was probably still a little cold, but not a whole lot. But if I was to do this right after another batch, you're looking 8 to 9 minutes.
I'm going for 11 because I think that peach cobbler had so much concentrated sugar in it that it'll take that much longer.
So you say 11?
11 minutes.
I say 9.
Okay, we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We're at 6:30 right now.
Oh, wow, your whole career is riding on this.
We'll see.
After this, that's everything that we're doing today as far as flavors. We'll be happy to give you a tour of the factory right after this, and we'll have seen everything that we do. We have 3 buildings. We have this main assembly building. We have another building up the road, a couple of doors that is machine shop, and then across over here we have machine shop. So we make a large number of our own parts that go into the machines, and the rest we buy USA. I either buy in the city of Brooksville, where we are, Brooksville, Florida, in the state of Florida, or the United States of America. Those are my 3 sources.
One question, it's out of the theme of what we're doing here.
Yeah.
First time that we've been here. And we're trying to find out what makes Brooksville tick. What do they do here? I mean, I see that there's factories like yours here. Is that it?
No, Brooksville is very rural, and it's a lot of large farms, very large farms. And so some is cattle, some is orange trees, and it's a little bit too far out to be a suburb of Tampa. It's about 50 minutes to downtown Tampa if there was no traffic. If they ever build a light rail up this way, the place will boom. And never say never, because Paul and I go over to the other side of the state and we pass through Orlando. Well, to get there, you pass through just fields of oranges and growing palm trees for other people in Florida.
Hey, Steve?
Nothing around,
It's done.
It's done. How many minutes?
What's that? What does that say?
8 minutes and 39 seconds. She was wrong. It was faster. No, very good. You got it. All right, so you want to take a look at that. But even where there were orange trees, now they're suburbs of Orlando. Oh, that looks, what a nice, clean color.
You want to get the rest out for me?
Will do.
So as you saw, I put that entire peach cobbler in there, and this is what it came out like. The machine just does a fantastic job with breaking down anything.
Is that what they say most of your people who have these machines, they use like third size pans for dipping? Or do they use
these
containers for dipping?
Are you talking about these?
Yes.
Steve is a big fan of these. I'm not. Traditionally, they use the 2.5 gallon containers that you see right there.
There's a problem with this, Christi.
What?
It's too good to give out to them. I need this for myself. This is really good. You're going to like it. Now, this is what I mean by it has a warm taste to it. Coming out of the machine, you can see it's beautifully frozen, and that's as cold as we want to get. But that flavor will become, which is fabulous when you taste it. But when it gets colder, and the flavor will bloom and it'll taste even better late tonight or tomorrow. I may hang around here till midnight to try it. Or I might sneak some home.
Anybody live close? How far are you guys?
Maybe 15 miles, 14 miles.
Well, good.
We're Brooksville.
Take some ice cream home.
Thank you.
Not much.
I was just going to ask where you live, Christi, because it's got to be close.
I don't have a
You got one at home. Correct?
See, when you get to my age, this product becomes currency. You've got a doctor who they tell you he's a specialist. Well, that's your first sign you're going to be waiting a long time. The second sign is they tell you bring War and Peace. You're going to be there all day waiting. I walk in with an ice cream like this, and I used to hand it to the receptionist, and it would get me in to see the doctor sooner. Now what I do is I walk in like this with the spoons, and I say, no, I want to give it to the doctor myself. Oh, and look, it's melting. I get right in every time. And I had to go to a specialist up in New York City for an eye thing, and 2 times in a row I brought ice cream. And this guy was the Queen of England's eye surgeon, and only worked on weird cases and pediatric cases. So he was way up there. And so I got right in twice. Third time I go, I bring ice cream, they take it from me, I'm waiting 2.5 hours. And I get to the doctor, I'm on first name basis, I say, hey Jeff, what's the story here? I brought you ice cream. He said, oh, I wasn't hungry, the lady before you brought brownies. I go, you bum.
Thank you.
So, don't forget that when you have a store. This is wonderful currency. You walk into a bank, you want to get a bank loan, bring everybody ice cream.
You must have some retailers around here that use your machine.
Flavor Shack right there at Target. Papa Clyde's.
Papa Clyde's does?
Yep.
Okay.
Papa Clyde's, Flavor Shack.
Steve, ice cream will taste different after 12 hours than what we're tasting now?
It'll taste the same texture and everything else, but the flavor will be stronger.
Oh,
if you thought you didn't, like I said before, if you thought you didn't put enough vanilla, you'll find out, no, it was just right.
And you know what else you could also do too? So if you wanted more peaches, you can just buy because that's what I used in my peach cobbler was just the can of peaches and the 100% juice, not the syrup. And even with the juice if you wanted to, because there's not a whole lot, but you can just add just a whole nother can of peaches right into that on top of that peach cobbler just to give you more peaches.
And it wouldn't be bad with a little peach brandy poured over it either. That would make a nice after dinner treat. Sure. Yeah, that would be good.
How is it?
It's fabulous. It's really good.
It's a peach cobbler.
Personally, I prefer a little stronger the peach, but it might be the big difference the time that it's in storage, getting cold, or adding a little bit more, like she says.
Yeah. We'll wait and see.
I thought about that too, getting another can of peaches this morning just for that reason, because I thought about there not being enough peaches in it.
Well, Christi, truth be told, called me last night and said, I've made 2 of these pies, but my husband, my daughter, and my mother are all standing around the oven waiting for it to come out. Do you think we can get away with 1 pie? And I said, we'll make it work.
How do you make coffee ice cream?
Coffee, I do. I was telling the couple up front, I'm a coffee snob. I love my coffee. And that said, I would never stoop to drinking Taster's Choice. That would just be awful. I mean, it would have to be the end of the world and there was nothing left. But this makes great coffee ice cream in general terms. It's freeze-dried crystals, and so when you put it into the dairy, it dissolves right there.
You
So
just add the dry.
as a dry powder. You're not having to brew the coffee and then compress it to make it stronger and pour it in, which is, I mean, I've got a press here to do that, and it's very nice. It's great, but I don't have the time. If I was running an ice cream parlor, I just wouldn't have the time. So this works extremely well and makes a great coffee flavor. My sister and brother-in-law moved down here, and I had warned them. I said, I made coffee ice cream. Do not touch the coffee ice cream. It's mine. Well, she took some home, and she ended up eating over a pint of it. And And I didn't see her for 3 days. And she comes in, her eyes are down like this. And I said, what happened to you? She said, I ate a lot of your ice cream at 11 o'clock at night. I've been up for 3 days. So I came up with the idea of why not, since it's lousy coffee to begin with, why not use the decaf version of it? So now I make decaf coffee ice cream. The trick to this is it's very bitter, and you can get rid of the bitterness by taking plain old Hershey's syrup that comes in the plastic container and about 3 or 4 squirts of Hershey's syrup into there. You'll never notice the chocolate taste, but it'll take away the bitterness of this coffee. So it comes out great. I mean, you taste almost anybody's coffee ice cream in the world, and they're all, except with the lady in front here who has perfected it. You go to a normal ice cream parlor and eat Breyers, it's just brown-colored vanilla ice cream. Yeah, I mean, you don't even know it's coffee.
And I don't even add the Hershey's. I add vanilla to offset for the bitterness.
That probably works too.
Add what?
Vanilla.
Okay.
But the thing is, if you're a tea drinker, you're not going to buy my coffee ice cream. So the only people I'm selling coffee ice cream are people who like a coffee that'll put hair on your spleen. You know, really strong stuff. I drink something called Black Rifle, and it's amazing how good it is. So I try to make my coffee very strong because I know a tea drinker is never going to buy it. Only someone who loves coffee is going to buy coffee ice cream. And throwing chips in works very well. I also came up with another flavor. My wife's father was, his career was in the New York Police Department, NYPD. And so I made, in his honor, NYPD ice cream, which was coffee ice cream with Dunkin' Donuts in it. And I sent it out to the world, and I said, you know what, you don't have to call it NYPD. If you're in Los Angeles, you can call it LAPD. If you're in West Palm Beach, name it after the West Palm Beach Police Department. Wherever you are and wherever you make it, you're going to make a lot of friends in the police department because you're making this ice cream and naming it after them. So it was just coffee and donuts. I mean, that's the big joke. What else do cops consume but coffee and donuts? So it works well. And ice cream. Are you ready for a tour of the factory?
Yes.
Okay, if you want to leave your papers here, you can come back and pick them up.
And if you would like a photo with Steve, now is the time to do it before you go out there. So
who would want a photo with me?
Everybody does.
She's prettier. Take a picture of her.
I just need your phone if anybody wants a photo
Nobody
with
wants
Steve.
it.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We all.
How about we do it when I come back and then I can disappear?
No, we're going to do it before you guys leave.
I still have a cutout of Ronald Reagan. We could do that.
Do you preference Air Force